This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Consult your healthcare provider before use. Introducing Vinia, a breakthrough superfood with a full matrix of polyphenols from the red grape. Enjoy the health benefits of a bottle of red wine minus the alcohol, sugar, and calories.
I used to take naps in the afternoon, but I can tell you this. After taking Vinia for a week, no more naps. I've had more clarity than I ever have had before. I can think, I can drive, I can do things without any hesitation. It's like smooth energy all day long. I can enjoy life, I can be more productive. You'll feel the difference. Try Vinia.
In a clinical trial, Vinia significantly increased the dilation of arteries. This dilation increases your blood flow and the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to your brain, heart, and other tissues, supporting heart health and improving your physical energy and mental alertness. Use code RADIO to get 10% off your first order at ordervinia.com. That's ordervinia.com. Ordervinia.com. Vinia, better blood flow, better life.
Boom, 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 boom.
Nissan has a car for every driver who wants more. More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
And Barnes hits one high, hits it deep, it is out of here! Morant, a jawbreaker!
It's time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable!
Here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome into Sports 56 Mornings on this Friday, September 22nd, 2023. Getting you set for what should be a great sports weekend, especially if you are big into pigskin, which I think we all are. My name is Greg Gaston, on location today with the Tigers in St. Louis, Missouri. In fact, to be exact, I'm in Clayton, Illinois right now with the team. We are staying at the Le Méridien Hotel, the Le Méridien Hotel in Clayton, Illinois. I had no idea what this city was about until I got here. And let me tell you something. It's a little hidden jewel for those who don't know Clayton but know St. Louis. I'll tell you why in just a second. Zach Boyd is producing the program. He is back in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. The world's biggest spa sale is going on. And in between watching football this weekend and whatever else you have to do, maybe it's a good time to stop by and see what they have to offer at Family Leisure. Not only the great spas, but everything else. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Eli is off today. He will be back on the program on Monday. Weather-wise, we're looking at what should be a pretty nice day again in the Memphis area. It's pretty much been a broken record. Give you the exact details here as soon as I can pull them up. It's going to be a partly cloudy day, a little mixture of sun and clouds with a high of 87 degrees. Chance of rain at about 20%. Tonight, a few clouds with a low of 66. And then tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a high of 88 degrees. Coming up on the program today, a little bit different than our usual Friday. Ryan Silverfield, who normally joins us on Thursday, he'll be joining us in about 12 minutes. And he is also right here in St. Louis at the Le Méridien Hotel. So probably right down the hallway from me. Ryan will talk to us about the Tigers and the Tigers as Memphis and Missouri play a big one Saturday. That's tomorrow at 6:30 at the Dome at America Center in St. Louis. John Varlas, who normally joins us at 7:30, will join us at 8:05. The Daily Memphian award-winning prep reporter. At 8:25, we will talk Ole Miss, Alabama. Big one in Tuscaloosa. It's just a big weekend all around in college football. And David will join us at 8:25. And then at 9:05, of course, Brandon Lang, one of the top handicappers in the country, the colorful, the entertaining Brandon Lang to break down some of the big college football and NFL games this weekend. We will not have 10 in a row, unfortunately, because I'm here and Eli is off, and it's just a little bit too complicated, but it will return next Friday. We'll take your calls and your texts on the Sports 56 listener lines at 901-360-8255. You can also hit us up on Twitter and YouTube and all the social media platforms. SportsMemphis.com is the website. Hit me directly on Twitter at Greg_Gaston. So that's your lineup for today. Should be a lot of fun. Let me bring in our producer, Zach Boyd. Zach, how are you?
Good morning, Greg. How's St. Louis? Or how's the outskirts of St. Louis?
So St. Louis is cool. So we actually fly into a smaller airport in Illinois. And we cross the mighty Mississippi. And you pass right through, not right through downtown, but around downtown. And you see Busch Stadium. And of course, I've been here a number of times, so it's nothing new to me. But you see, of course, the arch is the first thing you see. But we kept driving and driving. We got 5 buses, a cavalcade of buses going somewhere. And it's still driving. They're still driving. I'm like, where are we? And I had to do the 5 o'clock hit yesterday, as I do every Thursday with Brett and Bryant. And we're still driving. And finally we get to our destination. And it's about 45 minutes outside of St. Louis, and it was Top Golf. So the whole team went to Top Golf yesterday, and I was a part of that. And that was really cool to just kick back, relax. And that's the first time I've ever been inside and participated in Top Golf. Have you ever been to a Top Golf?
I have not.
So the closest I got was down in Austin, Texas. So I was down in Austin. I went to a Maryland, Texas Longhorns football game. My friends were there, my fraternity brothers, so we wanted to go down to try out Top Golf. And when we got there, it was line after line after line. I mean, you had to wait forever to get in, so we never got to play. And, of course, we have one, as you know, that's being built here in Memphis. And before too long, it will be open. And I'm telling you, it was really, really cool. We had a great time. I know the players had a ball to be able to get away from football and to just relax and have some fun. So we did that. And again, it was way out there. Now, supposedly there's another Top Golf closer to the city that may be a smaller one, maybe the swing suites that they have at the Erling Jensen Small Bites in the DoubleTree, and maybe something like that. But I don't think it's that big one that we had, that we saw and played in yesterday, and then one that's coming to Memphis. So we went out, we did that, we finished up, and then we went to the hotel. And I see Clayton, Missouri. I might have said Clayton, Illinois earlier. Clayton, Missouri, of course. So we drive and we get to Clayton, and all of a sudden I'm going, there's big buildings in Clayton. Like it's like a metropolitan big downtown. I'm like, what is Clayton? I have no idea. So I asked somebody, and they said it's the county seat of St. Louis. So you have the city of St. Louis right in the middle, and you have the county around it, and Clayton's the county seat. So they have, I guess, all their courts and all the judicial system there and all. But they also had they have a bunch of gigantic buildings. I mean, it looked like it was bigger downtown than Memphis. It was really like out of nowhere. I had never heard of Clayton. So I'm sure a lot of people out there listening to the show go, come on, Greg, how do you not know Clayton? I had no idea what Clayton was. So that's where we're staying. And then the team will be leaving here shortly after breakfast to go get a walkthrough at the Dome. And then they'll come back, they'll relax early tomorrow, go through final game plans and individual meetings for the units. And then they will get together. We'll all go to St. Louis downtown to the Dome, 6:30 kickoff, and ready to go against Missouri. So we're fired up, Zach. I hope the Tiger fans are as well. There'll be a number of Tiger fans that'll be making the trek to St. Louis, the trek up north, up 55, including a lot of my family. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be a very interesting game. Of course, there's a big question mark about the health of Brady Cook, the starting quarterback for Missouri. Earlier in the week, we heard that it was a hyperextended knee. He has been listed as questionable. Yes, Missouri listed their injuries. But Eli Drinkwitz earlier this week said it was a bone bruise. So I don't know if it's a hyperextended knee, a bone bruise, a combination, and I don't know which one's worse because I'm not a guy in the medical field. All I know is that he's questionable, but he is from St. Louis, and he's going to try like heck to get out there and play. And there's a lot of Missouri players who are from the city of St. Louis, and they want to showcase their goods tomorrow in front of a home crowd that should probably be around, I'm guessing, Zach, about 35,000 tomorrow.
That's interesting.
I think there's going to be about
a pretty nice crowd for a neutral site game, which is, this a drivable game.
Yeah, 35,000, I think, right now, but there could be a lot of walk-ups, and who knows, maybe they can get near 40. Now they're expecting maybe 2,000 Memphis fans. That's what Jeff Crane told us on Tuesday, the University of Memphis deputy AD, when he joined us. But, yeah, forget about neutral site. Let's forget about that term, because this is a road game. I looked at the pictures that people had posted from the Dome, and it is all dressed up in black and gold. It has the Mizzou logo at the center of the field, and it's spelled Mizzou in both end zones. So not Mizzou in one end zone and Memphis in one end zone like you would have at a neutral field game. This is a road game. Let's not get this confused. Memphis is picking up a nice chunk of change. They are playing a road game. It's unfortunate that this game was not played or is not going to be played at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, but this is a road game and a big challenge. Memphis is a 6.5-point underdog. Now, I thought the line would be higher when Mizzou beat Kansas State, nationally ranked last weekend. I thought when the line came out, Memphis would be a 10 to 13-point underdog. And remember, the last time they met, which was 5 years ago,
yeah,
I know 5 years ago doesn't mean anything squat when it comes to 2023. But the last time they played Missouri, they gave up 66 and got clobbered. So I was surprised that the line was at 7. Now it's dropped to 6.5. So it tells me that those wise guys in the desert may know a little bit more than we do about the condition of Brady Cook. If Cook can't go, you're talking about a guy in Sam Horn who has talent, but he's only thrown 5 passes, 1 for a touchdown, 1 for an interception. So, obviously, just by the lack of playing time, and Brady Cook is a guy who can really hurt you with his legs, I think it not necessarily gives Memphis the advantage, but put Memphis in a better situation to get this W. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think, and that's pretty much been the theme all week is whether their quarterback is Mizzou's quarterback, Brady Cook, is going to be healthy enough to play. And if he's not able to play, then that kind of sets things up for the Tigers to come in and make a statement. Now, you don't want to wish injury on anyone, and you don't want to, you want to play the team that you're playing against at full strength and beat them at full strength. But I mean, if it's that way where you're going to have to play without the opponent's starting quarterback, who's been really good so far to start the season, then yeah, like you just take it what's in front of you, and then just go into this thing and try to knock them off.
You know, it's interesting, and what you said is not inaccurate, right? Because you hear it all the time, especially from coaches, about wanting to play teams at full strength. Here's the truth about that. I think I'm in total agreement with you that you don't wish injury on anybody. But you don't mind if a star player is out. You'll take it. You don't want to play a team at full strength. You'd rather play a team that had a bunch of guys out. Why wouldn't you? It gives you an advantage. It doesn't mean, again, Memphis wins the game, but you don't wish an injury on anybody. But if the guy's hobbled, you don't mind if the guy happens to miss the game. You're not going to cry over that, right?
Yeah.
There's not going to be an asterisk that says, yeah, Memphis beat Missouri, but they didn't have their starting quarterback. Boo-hoo. Everybody goes through injuries. But again, no guarantee. Sam Horn is a heralded quarterback. He's a guy who has accolades coming into college. The problem is that he does not have the experience. So that's where we stand with that. Of course, the guy that makes this Mizzou team tick, and people have probably heard his name all week long, and that is Luther Burden III. He is an outstanding wide receiver, comes from East St. Louis, so right across the river in Illinois, and he will be trying to showcase as well in front of a lot of family and friends. And that's the guy that the Tigers have to really be concerned with. And we'll talk to Coach Ryan Silverfield in just a moment about the challenges of playing Mizzou. And, of course, this starts that big run for Memphis with Missouri next week, a week from tomorrow, Boise State. I know this is not the Boise State that played in the Fiesta Bowl and beat, Oklahoma and all that stuff, but this is still a solid, capable Boise State team with a lot of tradition. And then you start to really get into the meat of the conference schedule with Tulane. You have the one conference win already over Navy, but you have the Tulane Green Wave. So and right now, of course, Tulane doing what they did last year, and we'll see what the status is of Michael Pratt, their quarterback, who has been hurt. We'll find out about that, but that's going to be a real big challenge for Memphis over the next 3 weeks. Speaking of the Tigers, speaking of Coach Ryan Silverfield, it's time to talk to the coach.
It's time to talk Memphis Tigers football. It's Sports 56 Mornings weekly visit with Tigers head coach Ryan Silverfield. Brought to you by ATC Fitness with 18 locations in Memphis and the Mid-South. Now, here's Coach Silverfield with Greg and Eli.
Big shout out to ATC Fitness for sponsoring our segment with Coach Ryan Silverfield. Coach, thanks for joining us bright and early on Friday. I feel like I should either go down to your room or you to my room.
Yeah, absolutely. We could be doing this live and in person, which would be good. But it's good to be here in St. Louis. Excited about the matchup tomorrow.
So we talked about it on Monday in your presser. I asked you about the schedule. You had the Thursday game last week, so you had the extra time. Certainly you want to get to the Dome today and walk around and see what that's all about. But it's very unusual, is it not, for a team to travel to their destination, unless it's maybe Hawaii, a couple of days before a game?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things, looking at the schedule, as soon as it was announced, with Navy on a Thursday, be a chance for our guys maybe to kind of get their bodies back over the weekend and then get into a normal schedule before playing Missouri. And once we knew it was going to be in St. Louis, I said, it just makes too much sense. Had this been an outdoor stadium, maybe a normal venue, it would have made sense just to travel up today like most college football teams. It goes back to the days in the NFL where sometimes whether you're traveling the West Coast or traveling, like you just said, to a further distance, yes, to get there a few days early. But I just felt because, hey, guess what? One, our guys' bodies where they need to be, so maybe we don't have to have all the treatment at our current facility. Maybe we don't have to have all the bells and whistles. So let's get them down to get them up to St. Louis a day early and get a true practice. One, I wanted to be around the guys last night. It was fun. We did Top Golf yesterday when we got here, and then really more than anything for them to spend time together. They were watching football, playing games, and then today go get a true practice in the Dome. It's one thing to walk around, but to test out those lights. We'll see how much has changed since the last time I was there in 2012, but excited to go out there and have great practices today.
They seem pretty loose, of course, when you're out and enjoying yourself playing Top Golf like they did yesterday. It's a fun time, fun experience for all of them. I know they're focused, they're razor sharp in their focus, but they seem to be loose. They know that they come in as the underdog for the first time this season after 3 games where you were the favorite. Do you kind of feel that from the team, that they feel good, they feel loose going into this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you want a confident team. You want a team that's comfortable. And if guess what, if their jaws are clenched and their butts are tight over 48 hours prior to kickoff, then we've got enough issues, and I'm not doing my job. So they've prepared well all week. Obviously, we've got to continue to clean things up and have a great practice and great meetings tonight and tomorrow. But you don't want the guys uptight. They understand. Everyone keeps telling them, hey, you're playing this SEC opponent. Last time you played them, there was a butt whip and all those things. That's great. It's a new team. We're excited about the challenge that will come with playing the team that we're playing. It's an undefeated SEC team in Mizzou. But I do want them going out there with confidence and a little bit of chip on their shoulder to go out there and try to prove themselves.
Going into the Navy game, we talked about the challenge after playing 2 somewhat conventional defenses, although they mix things up a little bit. You're going up against, or 2 conventional offenses. You were going up against a Navy offense that runs the triple option, and it's a big challenge for your defense. We talked about that. Is there a challenge to go from the defense having just played against the triple option to now going back to a conventional offense? It's like on the other side, is it also a challenge going back to what you would normally do?
Yeah, I think, Greg, what happens is you spend so much time trying to prepare for Navy. You spend, hours upon hours, even in the off season, getting ready for that. And then you go and your first 2 games are different, so you hope your guys aren't thinking about Navy. And then you play Navy, and it's like, oh, we're finally here. And as quickly as you can, get rid of that, right? Get that taste out of your mouth, especially the bad tackling in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
I think our guys have done a nice job of transitioning back to a more traditional offense. Mizzou's got firepower, they got weapons. So, schematically, that's just part of it. And credit to our defensive coaches, credit to our young men that are steadfast in their approach and so intelligent enough to say, okay, hey, this is what we were getting. Now it's time to change our mindset back to this type of defensive scheme versus this type of opponent.
Well, you were in the NFL, so you know all about injury reports. Yesterday, Missouri releasing information on their injured players, and that includes their quarterback Brady Cook, who is questionable. How much more of a challenge is it for you guys knowing that you had to prepare for Brady Cook to play, and we know he's dynamic, and a young guy who we don't know an awful lot about, and Sam Horn, who could end up starting the game?
Yeah, well, first off, I even mentioned this to ESPN last night, we're playing a Missouri team that went into the season, a month ago they said they weren't sure who their quarterback was. So to me, all fun and games, they clearly weren't set on somebody. Then they go in their first game, they actually play 2 quarterbacks. Then, Cook goes in, obviously does a fantastic job versus Kansas State, but at opening kickoff, he was being booed by their fans. So, look, they've got 3 capable quarterbacks. I don't know who they're going to put out there. We've got to be prepared already. I'm sure Cook will battle and try to go, just like every quarterback does. Look, it's because I guess it's a starting quarterback. Had he been a 3-year starter, probably would have been a bigger to-do. But we're going to see their offense. They're going to try to do a lot of different things. Yeah, you got to prepare a little bit differently. But it's no different. It's funny when we have an injured player, it's not making national media news, but an SEC team does. It's questionable. It's national media news. So I don't sit there and boo-hoo about any time we get a guy nicked up. So neither should they. Let's go play ball.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of offenses, you may not face a better offensive weapon than Luther Burden III. Has it given you headaches? Have you been able to sleep okay? Because trying to defend this guy is going to be a big challenge.
There's no doubt. I mean, he is an absolute stud. He is capable of taking it to the house every single time. Not only is he a dynamic wide receiver, but they're going to use him on reverses, trick plays, vertical passing game. He's also their punt returner, and he is dangerous. I mean, he can absolutely go. He's got straight line speed, but he's dynamic, just so electric with everything he's able to do, and we're going to have to find a way to contain him. Is he going to have a catch? Sure. That's the nature of college football. But we're going to have to do everything we can to swarm to him, be cleaner in our tackling, and find a way not to let him hurt us with explosive plays over the top.
When you look back at the tape from Navy, and you mentioned it earlier about the first half of that game, they were being more physical than you guys. You were missing a bunch of tackles. Second half was a different story. So I don't know what was said at halftime. But the missed tackles, which we had not seen all season long, and it reared its ugly head in the first half of that game. Again, second half much, much better. Did you come to a conclusion why that was, and do you expect to be more sound with your tackling? I know you need to be against Mizzou.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I mentioned, playing on a short week, we didn't have the opportunity to tackle during practice. And like I said, I'm sure some fans are like, what do you mean you didn't tackle during practice? But, our guys were pretty bruised up even after the Arkansas State game. Regardless, it's still like college football season. You go from playing a Saturday to a Saturday, then all of a sudden a Saturday to a Thursday. You just got to be mindful, right? You got to be healthy and well. And so we didn't really have any live tackling. We tackled the dummies, we tackled the rings, we do all those things just like any other. But in my history, I mean, even the last 15 years, I don't know of a single team that does live tackling on players in a short week. But maybe next year, if we got to play Navy again on a short week, we'll be the first one because obviously what we did in the first half wasn't good enough. I think the guys also understood what was coming at them offensively. I mentioned this in the press conference, Greg, is, when you're seeing a triple option, there's a lot of variations. Plus, credit to Navy, they bought a lot of different schemes and motions and showed really 50% of things that we had never seen, that they had never put on tape. Like I mentioned, they prepared during their bye week for us, and so they bought out a bunch of stuff. So our guys probably may have been a little bit slow to trigger, maybe a little bit slow to go. We still got to wrap up and do what they did, but I think once things settled down in the second half, they were able to execute. And so do I expect the tackle any better for us against the Missouri Tigers? Absolutely.
On offense for you guys, we saw the first breakout game of Blake Watson against Navy with 2 69-yard runs. We saw how dynamic that young man can be. He's not the biggest guy in the world yet. He's strong. He can break tackles. He has breakaway speed. Are we seeing the emerging of a star, or is this just continue to run your guys, Sutton and Jay, and everybody will get their totes? But it seems like Watson has maybe even separated himself a little bit.
Well, Watson did an excellent job in that game. I still think, like you said, we've got we're going to continue to hang our hat on being able the ability to have a few running backs, right? It's because of what we ask of our guys, right? In the passing game, you think about the number of catches that Blake has had, even Sutton Smith. So we continue to expect Blake and Sutton to get a lot of the load, and then Jay Ducker's playing a ton for us with special teams. He's been dynamic, and we truly trust him back there in the backfield as well.
Couple more things, and we'll let you go, Coach. Seth Hennigan through 3 games. How would you evaluate his play?
Say that again.
Through 3 games, Seth Hennigan, his performance through 3. How would you evaluate it?
Yeah, look, Seth has done a really nice job. I always told him the mark of a great quarterback, especially after 2 years and seeing what he's capable of, is finding a way to win football games. He has got a lot of things to clean up. He'll be the first to admit, some of those inopportunities, last possession of the game, the interception, things of that nature have not been the cleanest. But he's putting our offense in the right position to go out there and execute, and that's what we can ask. I'm proud of him. He's 3-0 as a starter, and I think he's doing a really nice job. I think he's only going to continue to get better. He's got great confidence in the weapons around him and the play calling, and so Seth's doing a nice job. We continue to expect him to get better.
So you got a big stretch here, 3 really, really challenging games, and others down the road, but these are really big opportunities for you guys. What is it going to take to knock off Missouri tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to go play our best game. They are a very talented team. Make no bones about it. This is not one of those teams you go out and you turn the ball over against, it's going to be game over. They're going to be big. They're going to be physical. Arguably, obviously, in the trenches, this will be our toughest opponent because of what they're capable of. I go back, and I don't like to compare teams, but when we played them, I reckon about 7 years ago, when we had some good players named Tony Pollard and Darrell Henderson, and we had one of the better lines in the country. It was a rough go for us because they just out-physicaled us. And we sat there and said, we had some good players, but, combined, they had a bunch of ones. And, on the Senior Bowl roster watch list, they've got 11 guys. We have 0. But guess what? We're going to drop our gloves tomorrow and come out swinging and excited. We just got to do our job at a high level and be consistent with it for 4 quarters. But excited to watch our guys go out there and compete and give it their all, and I think we got a great chance.
Have a great practice today. We'll see you over at the stadium tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, and all the fans traveling to St. Louis. Look forward to seeing you guys. Go Tigers.
Thank you, Coach. Coach Ryan Silverfield, who joins us each and every week. It's brought to you by our friends at ATC Fitness. So there you go. There's no question that this game comes down to physicality. Look, Missouri's going to be physical. They're an SEC team, let's be honest. They're all physical. Even Vanderbilt's physical. Memphis has shown signs that they can be. Can they match? If they can match, I think Memphis has enough skilled position players to really challenge Missouri and pull off this win. I would be very, very surprised if you see anything like you did from several years ago. Coach just alluded to that blowout loss to Missouri. I don't think that one's coming down the pike. We need to take a timeout. Before we do so, though, I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, the Crazy Coop. Wings and football just go together, right? Chicken wings and watching football, it's a match made in heaven. So you want to find the best chicken wings around the city of Memphis. And I know there's a lot of terrific places that make great chicken wings. But if you have not tried the Crazy Coop, you're missing out on the best. Located at 7199 Highway 64 between Appling and Kirby Whitten, and the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. When you think about those chicken wings, what comes to mind is those flavors, the sauces that go on top. That's what makes the wing, right? Most people can cook up a good chicken wing, but it's what you put on top of it. And you have 27 different flavors at the Crazy Coop, including the Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch seasoning with a little kick to it. Mango habanero, sweet taste of mango followed by the heat. Sweet maple bourbon, the taste will remind you of chicken and waffles. Also, if you're looking for something hot, the crazy sweet lemon pepper hot or the crazy suicide. And if you can't take the heat, get the 4-cheese roasted garlic, which is delicious, or the barbecue bacon bourbon. Again, just a few samples of the 27 different flavors they had. So whether it be the whole wings, the party wings, or the boneless wings, head on over to Crazy Coop. Get yourself crazy packs for the weekend, some trays. They will even cater. You got something coming up, you want to cater with those delicious Crazy Coop chicken wings, they will do that for you. If you go out to the Bartlett location, the full menu, that includes some delicious catfish sandwiches and juicy half-pound burgers, and all the sides like the fried okra, the green tomatoes, the fried dill pickles. It's the Crazy Coop for football weekends and for any time. Again, 2 convenient locations at 7199 Highway 64 between Appling and Kirby Whitten, and the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. When we come back, we'll talk some NFL Thursday night football. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Everyone agrees that 117 Prime is Memphis's premier downtown dining experience. But what if you could go one step further and have 117 Prime at home? As hard as it is to believe, 117 Prime, which features some of the best food in Memphis, is available for curbside or takeout. Imagine just swinging by Prime and picking up not just something good, but something great. 117 Prime makes the best steaks in Memphis, and you could eat it in your living room. The best food in Memphis. Enjoy the way you really want to. Pantsless.
Want to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees? Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is your place. You can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59 plus tax, including cards. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and now is available to everyone. A membership is only $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar. Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on clubs. Call 870-394-4186 today for your Tuesday through Sunday tee time at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Sports 56 Traffic. Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Good morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 1 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Getting ready for the sports weekend. It's the Friday, September 22nd, 2023 edition. I'm Greg Gaston. I am on the road with the Tigers, broadcasting live today from the Le Méridien Hotel. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? Not that fancy. It's in Clayton, Missouri, which is a suburb of St. Louis. Eli is off today, will return on Monday. And Zach Boyd holding down the fort, producing the program from the Family Leisure Studios. Just spoke to Ryan Silverfield from here in St. Louis as the Tigers get set to take on the Missouri Tigers tomorrow on what should be a great weekend of college football. At least on paper, there are some dynamite games, and we're going to talk about a lot of them as we progress along this morning. Again, if you have a question or a comment, you want to give us a call or text 901-360-8255. Hit us up on any of the social media platforms. Send it to the website, sportsmemphis.com. This next half hour, we will be guest-free, so this is a good opportunity. Normally at this time, John Varlas joins us. He will join us at 8:05. We'll talk Ole Miss and Alabama at 8:25 with David Johnson. And then at 9:05, Brandon Lang will handicap some of the big college football NFL games. I wonder who we had last night. I think last night was a pretty easy play, Zach. San Francisco playing the Giants. We know how good San Francisco is. No Saquon Barkley for the Giants. And kind of a ho-hum Thursday night game, an 18-point win for the 49ers.
Yeah, that was easy, like a walk in the park. It's not like the Cowboys beating the Giants in week 1, but it was pretty easy for the 49ers.
Yeah, it was just pedestrian-like. Christian McCaffrey did his thing. Fantasy football owners out there, if you have McCaffrey, you know you're getting a touchdown pretty much every single week. He had 18 totes, 85 yards and a touch, caught 5 passes for 34 yards. They have so many weapons. Just so many. Deebo Samuel is so good. Obviously, you got George Kittle. Brandon Ayuk was out. They did not have him, but my gosh, there is a stud after a stud after a stud. Great offensive line. And then there's the quarterback, Brock Purdy, 25 of 37 for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. Let's be honest. Nobody saw this one coming. Not even NFL teams saw this one coming. Mr. Irrelevant, final pick a couple of years ago in the NFL draft. He gets kind of thrust into the action last year, and look what he did. Then I was suspect going into this year, coming off the injury, number 1, and then wondering if he was a flash in the pan. He does not appear to be a flash in the pan. He is steady Eddie. He doesn't make mistakes. And, boy, San Francisco is going to be hard to beat. Again, they move to 3-0 with the victory. Some other NFL notes. The Panthers do not expect Bryce Young to play this weekend. And that's a shame because they're playing at Seattle. It's going to be a tough challenge for Carolina. They're already 0-2. But all the talk about Bryce Young being too small and this, too short. Look, that offensive line has to be better. They have to have more talent to protect Bryce Young because he is slightly built. Let's be honest with you. It doesn't mean he's going to go out there and get crushed every time. But you need that guy on the field. He needs to develop by playing games, not in practice. And this probably will be a short-term injury, but you never know. And then, God forbid, he goes back out there and gets clobbered again. So this is something that worried me from the get-go. Not his size, not his height, but the Panthers' offensive line. So you have that going on. Then there was the big news about the Cowboys and defensive back Trayvon Diggs suffers a torn ACL. The Cowboys have been absolutely terrific, and they can ill afford key injuries. That defense is playing lights out. Dan Quinn's defense has been great. And that is a big loss to lose Trayvon Diggs. Let's go to the Sports 56 listener lines. Again, you can call in or text in at 901-360-8255. Joe wants to talk a little about Mr. Brock Purdy. Joe, how are you this morning?
Hey, Greg. I'm a big college football guy. So, obviously, with Purdy, he's Mr. Irrelevant and all that. But I think looking back on it now, you can see the lack of success Iowa State's having now. Especially at the quarterback position where you see some of these schools like, I'm trying to think of a good, Alabama obviously struggling at the quarterback position where once this guy departs, they take a huge step back. Lamar Jackson at Louisville would be one. When he left, it kind of showed the lack of talent he had around him because Petrino, a couple of years later was 2-10, 3-9. Purdy had them, they won the Fiesta Bowl, a New Year's Six, and now they are really struggling. They scored 7 points against Ohio this past weekend. I think scored maybe 13 or 14 against Iowa. So So we're seeing evidence, I guess, is how good Purdy was, and the lack of success that's coming at the same position behind him.
No question. No question, Joe. Thank you very much. Well, here's the thing, too. Joe makes a great point about Purdy and where Iowa State is now. In fact, I had Iowa State in that game against Ohio, and they couldn't score. They just couldn't score. They don't have a guy after Purdy left to replace him, at least not right now, and thus the struggles for Campbell and Iowa State. A guy who could have pretty much written his own ticket where he could have gone next to be a head coach, Matt Campbell. And instead, he's sitting here and he's mired in a offensive struggle putting points on the board. But here's the thing, too. You could be a great college quarterback and obviously not be a great or good or even serviceable NFL quarterback. And I think that's what people got caught up with. And I'm not talking about the fans. I'm talking about the football people, the people who do this thing for a living, the scouts, the insiders, the general managers. They looked at Brock Purdy. They saw the film. They watched him live. And nobody thought much of him at all, even though he was a really successful college football quarterback. They missed. And San Francisco just threw out a flyer on him, Mr. Irrelevant. I don't think they expected that Brock Purdy would be their future starting quarterback. No way you're expecting that. That's the same with New England, let's be honest, with Tom Brady. They weren't expecting that from Tom Brady, and the rest is history. Well, San Francisco took a flyer on him, and it has worked out incredibly well. They got lucky. But to Joe's point, yes, Iowa State's not the same. But it doesn't mean because you were a great quarterback in college that you're looked at as being one in the NFL. And he was definitely not perceived as a guy who was going to be successful at the next level. And thus why he was picked as the last player picked in the draft a couple of years ago. Elsewhere in the NFL this weekend, what we have going on is, I think, a fair schedule. Not a great schedule, but a pretty decent schedule. Indianapolis will play Baltimore. Lamar Jackson. Joe brought up Lamar Jackson. Boy, oh boy, is he off to a great start. All that whole contract squabble and everything, man, that's been put to bed. He is playing MVP caliber. MVP caliber at quarterback. Great start for Baltimore. The Titans and the Browns, both teams at 1-1, and you don't want to drop the 1-2. So this is a big, important game in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson has not been good, and they spent a lot of money for that guy. So he needs to step up and step up now for Cleveland. Ryan Tannehill, after a horrible first game, bounced back in game number 2 and played well in the win over the overtime win against the Chargers. Denver and Miami. Miami 2-0, looking real good. Denver 0-2. Their season about to go down the drain if they fall to 0-3. And it will take a Herculean effort to win in Miami. Russell Wilson's been a little bit better, but still 0-2, about to go to 0-3 more than likely. The Jets and New England. Speaking of 0-3, the Pats, if they lose this one, fall to 0-3. The Jets, they lose Aaron Rodgers, but still a capable team with a great defense. You would think that the Jets would win at home. New England has been installed as a 2.5-point favorite. I'm a little surprised that game at MetLife Stadium. Buffalo is 1-1, bounced back nicely last week. They play Washington. Washington's 2-0. Good start for Ron Rivera's team. They have Eric Bieniemy now as the offensive coordinator. They have a new ownership group, but they're not as good as that 2-0 record would indicate. I think Buffalo goes into Washington, wins that one. Atlanta 2-0 at Detroit 1-1. Again, Falcons, good start. I don't think they're as good as that 2-0 record would indicate. Detroit, tough loss last week at home to Seattle. They bounced back, I think. The Lions a 3-point favorite. Saints and the Packers. Saints at 2-0. Green Bay 1-1. It's a recurring theme. Saints, Falcons, Washington. I don't think they're that good, even though they're 2-0. Green Bay at 1-1. I think Jordan Love has played well so far, and I would give them the slight edge over New Orleans at home. Green Bay's a 1.5-point favorite in that one. Houston and Jacksonville. The Jags, disappointing last week. A lot of people had them beating Kansas City. Did not happen. They're 1-1. Houston 0-2. C.J. Stroud put up some pretty good numbers. Played last week when he was questionable. I like that. I like that toughness. But I think Jacksonville should win the game. They're an 8.5-point favorite. Chargers at 0-2. Vikings at 0-2. You would think the loser is pretty much toast. I know it's a 17-game schedule, but it's going to be tough to bounce back from 0-3. A really important game Vegas thinks it's going to be close. Minnesota 1-point favorite. Mentioned Carolina and Seattle. Seattle 6-point favorite. Bryce Young can't go. You have the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, going for Carolina. Dallas is 2-0 at disgruntled and disenchanted Arizona. They're 0-2. They are a bad football team. Dallas will probably play fair, right? They'll probably go in there and won't. I don't expect Dallas to go in there and wipe them off the mat. I think Dallas will go in there kind of half sleepy and still win the game going away. They're a 12.5-point favorite. Bears and the Chiefs. Bears 0-2. Chiefs 1-1. Bears were the worst team last year and maybe on the way to being the worst team again this year. And they need Justin Fields to step up. And then finally you have Pittsburgh and Las Vegas. By the way, the Chicago-Kansas City game and Pittsburgh-Las Vegas game are Sunday games. Pittsburgh-Las Vegas is the Sunday night game. And both Pittsburgh and Las Vegas are 1-1. I think the Raiders have a good chance to go to 2-1 against Pittsburgh. Not really enamored with the Steelers. Steelers sitting again at 1-1. Las Vegas is a 2.5-point favorite. And then Monday night, you got another doubleheader. Philly and Tampa Bay, both 2-0. The Rams and Cincinnati. The Rams 1-1 and the Bengals 0-2. Philly at 2-0, looking as good as they did last year. Tampa Bay, surprising. Baker Mayfield hasn't played well. I think Tampa Bay, I wouldn't put them in the boat that I put those other teams in at 2-0. I think they're okay. I don't think they're great. Philly's a 5-point road favorite. Watch this one be really, really close, but I think Philly will edge Tampa Bay. And then the Rams and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, 0-2 for the second straight year. They bounced back last year from it. Can they do it this year? Joe Burrow's not 100%. They've been a big disappointment. The Rams are 1-1. Got beat up by San Francisco. Looked really good against Seattle in game 1. As long as they have Matthew Stafford, they're capable. Cincinnati is a 3-point favorite. That's a look at what's happening in the National Football League. And again, we'll get the picks from Brandon Lang coming up at 9:05. We need to take a time out. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Ready for a new ride? We got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it with 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $229 a month, $29.99 to its signing. Get some EV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind SUV. 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 to its signing. Plus, check out 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. Get up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 to its signing. And Gossett will include a free charger with your EV purchase, all 36-month leases, plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678,605, MSRP 21,610, Nero P507859, MSRP 41,090, EV6 P5610964, MSRP 49,687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
It doesn't matter if you're at the lake, if you're hunting, fishing, playing golf, or just playing around, Scooters Plus can hook you up with the mobility that you need. Scooters Plus has the largest vehicle and parts inventory in the Mid-South and the best service department. You can choose from ATVs, UTVs, golf carts, motorcycles, dirt bikes, trikes, scooters, and even electric bikes. Come in today to start or wrap up your holiday shopping with 25% down on Christmas layaways. Scooters Plus, 3425 Summer Avenue. Call Sam at 458-8843 or go online to scootersplus.us.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Final segment here in hour number one. Broadcasting live today from just outside St. Louis in Clayton, Missouri. My name is Greg Gaston. Eli off today, returns on Monday. Zach Boyd producing the program back in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Coming up at 8:05, John Varlas will join us. I know he's normally at 7:25, but John, kind enough to move his schedule around for us. He'll join us at 8:05 to talk some prep football. We'll talk Ole Miss and Alabama at 8:25 with David Johnson. That Brandon Lang will handicap some of the big college football and NFL games. That'll be coming up at 9:05. We'll have plenty of opportunity at the end of the show to take your calls and texts. We will not, unfortunately, have 10 in a row this week because Eli's off and I'm here. It's just very hard to take care of and to do that correctly, but we'll do it again next Friday. Some NBA news. Yesterday, I'm not sure if you caught this, Zach, but according to reports, the Phoenix Suns, who have been as busy as anybody in the offseason, have emerged as a dark horse to help facilitate a Dame Lillard trade. And DeAndre Ayton's name has popped up, and it has popped up before about the possibility of him being dealt. Now, there was another story that said Dallas tried to get involved, tried to get Ayton, but they lowballed Phoenix, and Phoenix would have nothing of it. There are some other teams that are very interested in maybe facilitating a trade to get Lillard. Lillard has come out again and has said that if he is traded to anybody other than Miami, he will demand a trade from that team. So it's kind of a mess right now with camps opening up in less than 2 weeks. Lillard is still technically a part of the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, and Phoenix is kind of an interesting spot as a team that willing to help out another one when they don't have any first round picks to give up either.
Yeah, I don't know what they would do, but again, you're talking about the possibility of trading Ayton. It's weird if you're this close to the start of camp and you still don't believe that he is a major part of your team. It's kind of unusual that if that was the case, that this guy would have been dealt a long time ago. There would have been something that would have happened.
Right.
Because you don't want to go into camp, right? Knowing that, yeah, he's not going to be a part of this. We don't – he's going to start, but we're not running anything through him. We'd rather have him on another team. And so if it's that confusing and convoluted, I think that you have to trade even if you take less value for the trade than what you want to. We know what Phoenix is all about with Kevin Durant, with Bradley Beal, and with Devin Booker. These guys are going to be shooting the rock, and they're going to be shooting it well, and they're going to be getting up and down the court, and they're going to be a real fun team to watch. But I'll be curious to see if anybody can help facilitate this trade with Dame Lillard, because Lillard, and I've always liked Dame, but now it's getting a little much, demanding exactly where he needs to go and saying what he said. But that's a disgruntled player. You know, the Harden situation has kind of cooled down a bit in Philadelphia, although I think he still wants out. You have some others as well that are not real happy. So we'll see what happens here, again, with camps ready to open up. And speaking of camps opening up, go ahead.
No, because I'm looking at the teams, I guess the current teams after free agency, and it's not if they decide to trade Ayton, they got to get another center back, because right now the Suns, the only big men that they have are obviously is Kevin Durant, but then they have who they have? They have Drew Eubanks and the Metu kid from Sacramento that they signed over free agency. So it's like, it doesn't make. I mean, I understand if they wanted to use DeAndre Ayton as a trade piece to kind of help get facilitate the deal, but from a roster construction standpoint, that doesn't make sense to me at all.
Well, I hear you, yeah. And the guys you just rattled off are not really legitimate fives, in my opinion, guys that you can really depend on to battle against the real bigs of the league. But I guess what they're looking at is, if they don't feel he's that valuable because he's not going to really be a big part of the offense, what they need to get is a serviceable big man that can play defense, block shots, get rebounds. And there's a number of those guys out there that are even backups that you can get, because you're not going to really use that player that much in your offense. They'll be setting screens and doing things like that. But again, that's just a rumor that's out there that could be a possibility of Phoenix being the team to facilitate that Dame Lillard trade. And then there was the other thing yesterday that I know became a pretty good story in our area well after we were off the air. But there's the Old Man and Three podcast. Whose podcast is that? Is that Evan Turner's?
No, it's JJ Redick's.
It's JJ Redick's, and Evan Turner was a guest.
Yeah, okay. Evan Turner and Andre Iguodala was his guest.
So for those who didn't hear this, they were talking about what cities deserved NBA teams and things of that nature. And it was Evan Turner who said that the Grizzlies should leave Memphis and go to Nashville. And then I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Iggy said they should go back to Vancouver. And then Redick said Kansas City, they should go to Kansas City because Kansas City needs a team after not having a team for forever. We know the old Kansas City and Kansas City Omaha Kings, of course, moving to Sacramento. So all I could say is pipe down, Evan Turner. But it is something that I've brought up in the past about Nashville, right? Nashville has everything. And they're trying to get everything if they don't have it, right? They don't have an NBA team. But they're trying to get a Major League Baseball team, which they will one day. They obviously have NFL. They have NHL. They have NASCAR. They have MLS soccer. And they're getting a stadium that's going to host Final Fours and Super Bowls. So how about spreading the wealth a little bit? The Grizzlies are fine right where they are. Now, got to get the whole FedEx Forum thing settled with the state money and everything else that goes and is involved in that situation. But let's pipe down a little bit, Evan Turner, right?
Yes. All the way down. All the way. All the way.
I mean, come on. It's not like this isn't the Jaguars in Jacksonville or Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa, not drawing anybody, really struggling. This is a team that, with each passing year, has gotten more and more support from Grizzlies fans, with those suites basically sold out. They're going to renovate that FedEx Forum to make sure that there's more high-priced premium seating because people are willing to pay it. The team has been very productive. It's been a really good product, so people love shelling out money for a good product. They won't do it for a bad product. So I don't understand why you would just sit there and say, yeah, move them to Nashville. Shut up. That's all I have to say. All right, we need to take a timeout. When we come back, we begin hour 2 talking prep football. If you have any questions about a particular game that was played either last night or is about to be played tonight, or about a particular team you want to ask John Varlas, I guarantee you he'll have an answer for you. Just hit us up at 360-8255. The Sports 56 listener lines. Text in your question for John. JV is next. He'll join us from inside the Family Leisure Studios. I'm in Clayton, Missouri, getting ready for the Memphis Tigers and Missouri Tigers battle tomorrow. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Hey everybody, fall is happening here in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevy. Not only can you get the new 2023 Silverado this week, you can get financing as low as 0 interest for 3 months with no payments. And your good credit deserves this. So come drive a Silverado or one of these new Traverses. See Kevin or Jeff if you want to do a custom order. And if you're a first responder, educator, military, recent college grad, healthcare professional, September is your month for bonus cash and more here at All-Star Chevy. Just see Kevin or Jeff, and they asked me to thank all of you who are bringing your cars and your trucks here to sell. All-Star is still paying crazy good money, and you can get a check today, even if you still owe money on it. And All-Star's certified and pre-owned selection is loaded. I see lots of Silverados, Ram trucks, here's a Denali, even a Mercedes. They're all spot on. And if you need service or maintenance, call Sean or Jeff in the All-Star service department. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Bartlett, not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Sports 56 traffic.
We have a lot of accidents on the roadways. Fraser Raleigh at Hawkins Mill. That's Fraser Raleigh at Hawkins Mill. Raleigh LaGrange at Chiswood Street. That's Raleigh at Chiswood Street. White Station at Summer. Accident on Pendleton at Barron Avenue, and then accident on Lamar at Winchester. So please just take it easy out on the roadways. We got a lot of accidents to start the morning. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever. Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Looks like a lot of people are anxious to get their weekend started. As Zach said, come on, guys, be careful out there. Friday is here. It's good. Everybody's happy. We don't need a bunch of accidents here to start the day. We're looking at a very nice weather day once again. 70 degrees currently, partly cloudy skies. Looking at a high today of about 87. With intervals of clouds and sunshine, chance of rain at about 20%, so not too bad. Tonight, a few clouds with a low of 66. And then tomorrow, again, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a high of 88 degrees. We are broadcasting today all over the place. I am in St. Louis, actually Clayton, Missouri to be exact, at the Le Meridien Hotels where the Memphis Tigers are staying, preparing for their game against the Missouri Tigers tomorrow. Zach Boyd back in the Family Leisure Studios producing the program. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Eli is off today. He will return on Monday. And in just a moment, we'll talk with John Varlas, who will join us from inside the studio as well. Second hour of the program is brought to you each and every day by our friends at James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jeweler. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. And each Monday and Friday, they bring you the Memphis Sports Fact. Did you know that the University of Memphis will honor their 2003 football team next Saturday when the Tigers play Boise State? The New Orleans Bowl participants were led by D'Angelo Williams. And D'Angelo will individually be honored at halftime for his College Football Hall of Fame induction. Should be a great night a week from tomorrow when the Tigers take on the Broncos from Boise State at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. James Gaddis Jewelers for all your bridal, engagement, and anniversary needs. If you're looking for that beautiful watch, custom-made jewelry, gemstones of all types, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, pendants, so much more, it is James Gaddis Jewelers. Plus, the estate and vintage jewelry, which they're always adding to that collection. You'll see something new every time you walk into James Gaddis Jewelers. They have the experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing always available at James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Time now for John Varlas.
It's time for Greg and Eli's weekly visit with John Varlas of the Daily Memphian. Check out John's prep sports coverage and more at dailymemphian.com. Now, here's John Varlas with Greg and Eli.
He is the award-winning Daily Memphian prep reporter, but so much more. He's John Varlas, who you can follow on Twitter at John Varlas. Hey, JV.
Good morning, Greg. How are things in Clayton?
I am experiencing for the first time this beautiful city of Clayton, Missouri. I had no idea that it was this hub of activity here. It's a I mean, we walked around last night. There were so many great restaurants, nice Italian restaurants. They have big buildings. It's like it's a city that is really a metropolitan city, but in the suburbs of St. Louis. It's kind of hard to explain. Have you ever been to Clayton?
I actually have. I think my wife and I stayed in Clayton the first time we went to St. Louis together as a couple. Now, subsequent trips, we've actually stayed in St. Louis. But yeah, I think we've stayed in Clayton. No, Clayton's nice. I love all the little towns there around St. Louis, Arnold and Peevely and Herculaneum. It's fun driving up to St. Louis and going and seeing all those crazy little towns there.
But yeah. This isn't a crazy little town, though. It has skyscrapers. I mean, it's like, what's going on? It reminds me almost of, and it's bigger actually than Buckhead, like Buckhead to Atlanta. Buckhead's a really nice area of Atlanta and has some big buildings. That's what it reminds me of here in Clayton. Clayton's pretty large.
It's a thriving city. I mean, and I'm glad you're having fun there. It sounds like they're definitely taking care of you. Meanwhile, back here at the studio, Zach and I are plotting our coup. We're going to be taking over the station here before you know it, since nobody's here. So
I know. It's like bizarro world here. Yeah. I'm here in St. Louis. Eli is off. John is spread out in the one studio. Zach, of course, that's his studio on the other side of the glass. So John is, he's cracking open beers. He's just having a good old time, folks. But I'm kidding, of course. Let's dive into it. Some interesting games last night and last week that I want to talk about as well. So maybe I should go back to last week, so we'll go chronologically. But were you surprised whatsoever? Not that Houston beat Whitehaven, but they kind of beat them up.
I think the score probably was a little bit of a surprise, actually, Greg, because that was the most points that Whitehaven has allowed in a game in 10 years. So,
oh my gosh!
Yeah, so they 10 years ago they played a team from Chicago and gave up 49 points, and they lost that one, obviously, and they gave up 48 to Houston. So maybe the margin is a little bit surprising, but I mean, when you look at the potential offensive firepower that Houston brings to the table, I mean, they can do, they potentially can do that to anybody if they're clicking. I mean, they've got a veteran quarterback in Chandler Day. He's only a junior, but he's already started for 2 years. They've got two really great running backs, and they've got three really good receivers in Andre Allen and DJ Miller and Sean Jones, who scored 3 touchdowns last night. So yeah, when they're clicking, Greg, there's they can put up points with anybody. So a little surprising, but not necessarily, I don't think.
John, anything else from last week that stood out?
Oh, Greg, not offhand. Not offhand.
Christian Brothers took it on the chin again, but that was expected against the team they played.
Baylor's really tough. I mean, Baylor's really, really good. I think, Bartlett is continuing to play really well. They've scored 50 points 2 games in a row, and I think the manner in which they beat White Station last week, White Station got out to a quick 13-0 lead, and then, literally in the blink of an eye, it was 49-13. I mean, that just shows you, the capacity of what they can do when, now that they've got their offense cranked up. And I think they're finally clicking under Coach Smith's system, and, they can put up points in a hurry as well. So I think that was a really impressive performance. Certainly the rest of the teams in our Dandy Dozen kind of held form last week. And, that sets up a big week this week and some big games at the top, too, especially with, Germantown and Collierville.
So last night we had an interesting night. Southwind really seems to be that team this year. I don't know if they've come out of nowhere, but boy, oh boy, they're playing some great football led by a terrific quarterback.
Yeah, I was talking to Zach, that's Zach's alma mater, and we were at Southwind last night. I hung out on the sidelines with Coach Edwards during the second half. Shout out to Paul Edwards, the state championship basketball coach over there at Southwind. Generous host as always, and it was great to catch up with Coach Edwards and watch the Jaguars. I mean, Greg, they're really, really good. I've seen them play twice now. I don't think necessarily last night they were, quite as in sync as they were in the game we saw against Munford, but, still really, really good. And the depth of talent across, and I was telling Coach Edwards this last night. I think the depth of good teams across the state in 5A might actually be a little bit deeper than in 6A. There's some really, really good 5A teams in the state when you talk about, Knoxville West and Henry County and Page and Nolansville and some of those guys. But, I think Southwind, and in particular, if, Kelvin Perkins, the quarterback, can keep playing like he is, he's playing at an all-state, / Mr. Football caliber type of pace. I mean, he's really putting up the numbers this year, really, really playing well as a sophomore starter. And, when you have a quarterback, you can cover up for a lot of deficiencies. Yep. And not that Southwind has a lot of deficiencies either, because they've got a terrific defense, Antoine Kiefer and Kavion Benton and Charles Sullins on the D line, the receivers they've got, Jalen Morris is starting to emerge as a good running back. So, I mean, they really don't have a lot of weaknesses that I can see, and they're 6-0 now for the first time in school history. And honestly, Greg, when you look at their schedule and kind of project it out, I mean, they've got a really, really good chance to go 10-0, and head into the playoffs undefeated. I think, obviously, Central and Brighton, and I think they still have to play Overton, so those games won't be cakewalks. But, Southwind is really, really good, and I really think they have a chance to do something special this year now that I've seen them in person twice.
Also last night there was one whale of a game, and it's going to be tough really to top that tonight as far as the competitiveness and down to the wire finish that it was. But the Covington Fairleigh game was really dynamite last night.
Yeah, that was a good back and forth test. Covington scores with 19 seconds left, and they pull out the victory over Fairleigh, 42-38. Really good performance for Covington coming into John P. Freeman and taking on a good Fairleigh team. And ultimately, Greg, I think that's a game that will help both teams prepare for the postseason. Covington in 3A. Fairleigh in 2A. When you get into region play, a lot of the region games not necessarily are the toughest games. So, as a coach, you want to get some of these good non-region tests, and to have one at this time of the year, I think is useful and productive. And I think both teams got that last night, Greg. I think they got a good test. Showed some things that they're good at, showed some things that they need to work on, and I think that game will ultimately help both of those teams going forward.
If you have a question for JV, you want him to talk about a particular game, a matchup, a team, hit us up on the Sports 56 listener lines by texting in your question at 901-360-8255. If we get any there, Zach, just jump on in, okay?
Yeah, we got a couple, actually.
Why don't you go ahead?
One texter says, I guess he wants to talk to you about MUS and Innsworth.
Well, MUS, as much football history as they have, and they've got a lot. I mean, they're one of the most successful programs in Tennessee history, but they have never beaten Innsworth. I think it's 8 games that they've played Innsworth in their history. They've never beaten Innsworth. And this tonight would be a good night to get that first victory.
Yes, it would.
It's the region opener for both teams. Innsworth is 4-1, just like MUS is. Obviously, I would feel a lot more confident about MUS's chances if they were playing at home, but they're on the road, and they're going to have to rely on that defense like they have all year, guys. I think with Brandon Nicholson and Makai Shaw and Hudson Schoaf at linebacker and Catcher Miller up front and some of these other guys. I mean, they've really done a good job defensively. Offensively, they've been opportunistic. They've made plays when they've need to and put up points when they've needed to. I think they need to play mistake-free football. Stick to their assignments and just kind of keep doing the things that they've been doing. Certainly they have a chance. Innsworth is good. They've got a couple of Power 5 players already committed, I think. So, it's going to be a good game, a really tough matchup, and I like this MUS team. I really do. I've said that, and this is going to be a tough game tonight, though, and I think those guys know that, and they're going to go up there and give them all they got. But it's tough. Innsworth is a really, really tough opponent, and especially in Nashville.
Now you got one texter texted in that says Brighton at Overton.
Well, that is a key game in Region 8 5A. We were just talking about Southwind. Southwind. So Southwind's in the driver's seat, obviously, for that region title after beating Munford a couple of weeks ago. So this one is going to be, really important for the playoffs. Gary Greer has emerged as a really versatile threat for Overton this year. Really good contributor for them. And Brighton under Keith Settler, the former Memphis Tiger, they're doing some good things as well. So where's that? Do you know where that game is, Zach?
It's in Overton.
It's an Overton home
at
game.
Overton.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting game. Lots of playoff implications there in 8-5A and that one too.
Of course, you have a big rivalry game. Maybe on paper, the game of the night, Germantown at Collierville. Yeah,
if anybody wants to go to that game and see, a veritable plethora of future Division I players, they're going to be out there tonight. You've got two, to my mind, Greg, two really evenly matched teams, two good quarterbacks, Aiden Glover for Collierville, who's committed to Missouri, and Cordero Walker from Germantown, who I believe is committed to Dartmouth. He's one of those smart guys, Greg. He's going to Dartmouth.
There you go.
Yeah. So two really good quarterbacks. Lineman galore. Robert Borden from Collierville's committed to Duke, and Keeson Shepard, from Germantown's committed to Mississippi State. The rest of that great D-line at Germantown, Chris McBee and DJ Allen and I'm drawing a blank on the other kid, Daniel Anderson, who's committed to North Carolina. Skill guys at Germantown, Joakim Dotson, the wide receiver at college. Just so much talent on the field tonight, and two really well coached teams. This game has a huge implication in terms of the region title. Germantown is undefeated. Collierville with just the one loss to Bartlett a couple of weeks ago. it's a Collierville home game, so obviously there's going to be a huge crowd out there at Collierville tonight. And, I really don't know how to call this one. I think when you look at these teams on paper, they both have a lot of the same strengths and, and a lot of similarity. So I think it's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to come down, obviously, to the fourth quarter. And man, I'm excited to see this because, just like I said, in terms of just talent, I mean, there's going to be so much talent on that field tonight.
Now, do we need to call it? Do we need to call it a battle of the suburbs between Germantown and Collierville, or are we just going to let it be?
I don't know that this game necessarily has a fancy name, and perhaps I'll be able to come up with.
It should, though.
Yeah, it should, but no, it's going to be a fun night out at Collierville. If you've never been to that the new stadium in Collierville, it really is beautiful, and it's just going to be some very, very high quality football tonight.
Does one need to win more than the other? Like, I don't know their records right now off the top of my head. So,
well, Collierville has the one region loss to Bartlett, so to lose two in the region at this stage in the season, that's certainly not the end of your season, but it certainly doesn't make things any easier.
Gotcha.
So yeah, from that perspective, Greg, yeah, Collierville probably could use the win more, but certainly, even if they don't win, they're still in really good shape, judging by the rest of their schedule.
So, Lakeland Prep. I guess they're a new program. They got their first win.
Yeah, first year pro. Yeah, that was from last week. Congrats to Lakeland Prep. Actually, their quarterback Brett Godwin was voted the Daily Memphian Player of the Week. So Lakeland got out there to the ballot box, and shout out to Lakeland Nation for getting that done. Yeah, no, that's a big moment for those guys. First year.
You taught me a lot. You taught me a lot about Lakeland Prep last week.
Well,
I had no idea that this place existed.
I'm about to teach you a little more. First year.
Okay.
First year varsity program. Last year they played a freshman schedule, so this year they've got freshmen and sophomores on the team. They're playing a full varsity schedule in Region 8-3A, so they're in that region with Hamilton and Sheffield and East and those guys. And last week they got their first victory in program history against Douglas, 19-6. Brett Godwin threw 2 touchdowns to Ryan Pitts, and he ran in the third touchdown. And just lots of potential out there for that program, guys. I think in time, I think it's going to be a really, really good program, not just in football but in all sports. They've already been to the state tournament in girls soccer. They got close last year in volleyball, so they're really starting to do some good things in a very short time at Lakeland. Lots of good people out there, and lots of potential.
That's great. A couple of other ones, John. Arlington White Station at Crump could be a sneaky good game.
It could be. It could be. White Station has played. White Station's definitely had some good moments this year. They've showed lots of improvement. Their big lineman, who we've talked about, Jalen Thomas, was honored by the Liberty Bowl folks this week, and I know they're excited about that. Arlington's got some firepower on offense, so yeah, this that'll be a good game at Crump Stadium. Well, 2 evenly matched teams, and if either one of them has a chance of maybe sneaking into the playoffs, they have to get this one tonight.
John always sends me the schedule for the whole season before the season kicks off, so I have that in front of me, and I want to make sure that this is accurate. Whitehaven, Cordova at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium?
That's the way it was listed on the schedule, and as far as I know, that is still occurring. Now, I haven't looked into that game since the summer, since when they posted the schedule, but yeah, I mean that's what they listed it as, and I like I said, I haven't looked into it any further, but I believe that's the case.
Wow, that's interesting because I've had talks with Thomas Carrier over at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium about high school football and bringing it back. Remember when we used to have those games on Comcast? We would have 4 games in a day on a Saturday to open the season, kind of a kickoff classic, to bring that back. I'd love to be able to bring that back to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. He didn't say anything about having a regular season game, so I saw that. I go, okay, that's great if that's the case. Any more games? Obviously, there's a ton of games, but any more games that stick out to you that we should be talking about here?
Well, Houston has a real interesting test with a very, very good Tupelo team coming to Houston. Tupelo is a Mississippi powerhouse, and certainly that game is not going to affect Houston at all in the region standings, but that's going to be a really, really challenging non-conference test. We mentioned MUS. Who else? You got the schedule in front of you, Greg.
I'm looking at. I'm trying to see which. I'm trying to see which ones are good matchups. Here's the thing: last week, and I follow you so closely as everybody should, especially on Friday nights with the football scores. And I was joking with you. I texted you Friday. I go, "Do we have a close game?" And I think you told me, I don't know if it was Lakeland Prep or whoever was playing. There was hardly any close games. Like every game was like lopsided. So it's hard for me to tell because I don't know the teams like you know the teams. If these are close games, for example, St. George is going out of the area. They're playing at University School of Jackson. St. George has not been good. I don't know how good USJ is. Millington and Ridgeway. Millington's okay. Ridgeway's been bad. Right, that game's at Germantown.
Yeah, Millington's already clinched their playoff spot, believe it or not, because of the way the regions are set up, and there's not many teams in that region. So based on results, they've already assured themselves of at least a fourth place finish, which assures you of a playoff spot. So yeah, I would just say get out and we got the schedule posted on our website, dailymemphian.com. So just pick a game, pick a team to support, your school, your alma mater. It's going to be great weather tonight. I think it's a lot of fun to kind of tune up for your college football Saturday by going to watch high school football on Friday. So you do the triple header, high school Friday, college Saturday, and pros on Sunday. That's the way we grew up with it, right, Greg? I mean, that's how I grew up with it.
Look, if you're not from the area, you didn't go to one of these high schools, base it on who cooks the best hamburgers. You need to do that one time. Is put the list of the top 10 in order, best burgers served at the cookouts at the games.
Greg, honestly, if you really want me to get in trouble, have me rating the
what? We rate everything.
No, the cook. No, it's gonna make if I say that school X has a better hamburger than school XY, can you imagine the not vitriol, but can you imagine the consternation that would cause?
Yes, but they got to work harder to make the better burger next year. Well, I think that would be fun.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna tell some poor mom or dad working the grill that they got to work harder. What's the matter with you?
John's a lover, not a fighter.
They're out there volunteering.
He's Switzerland.
Oh, they're volunteering. They're doing the best they can.
I know. Come on, just having some fun. Hey, John, one final thing before we let you go.
I got another one too, Greg.
Okay. We'll get to that in a second. But I did want to change topics here. You tweeted this out yesterday that, and not a surprise, 2 area players, baseball players, were named the top players in their minor league system. Hunter Goodman, of course, with Colorado, the Rockies. He played at Arlington and has been called up and has been playing with the Rockies. And then Terry Tatum from Houston High School, who I'm not real familiar with the White Sox. Tell us a little bit about Terry Tatum.
Well, he played at North Carolina State. Greg had a really, really good career there, and subsequently got drafted. And yeah, he's doing well for the Sox. Hopefully, we'll see him in the majors. We saw Hunter Goodman get his call up this year, and just a few days ago we saw Jonathan Bolin. Former Memphis Tiger who played at Arlington and at Bartlett, had a really good career at both schools and at Memphis, and he got called up to the Royals a few days ago. So yeah, a really good Memphis presence in the big leagues this year. Those guys, Brent Rooker from ECS, Sam Mull from St. Benedict, both with Oakland this year.
Austin Riley, DeSoto Central.
Austin Riley, Blaze Jordan is doing good things. I believe he's in the Red Sox system, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, a ton of local baseball talent doing some good things. And yeah, it's exciting. It really is.
All right, Zach, real quick.
Yeah, so they wanted to know about the Bartlett team. Well, what do you know about them?
Bartlett is going on the road tonight to play Grenada. I think this is obviously a non-region game for Bartlett, and like I said a few minutes ago, they've got their offense clicking. They've scored 50 points 2 games in a row. Last week they had Jaden Nealon caught 231 yards worth of passes, and Jaron Johnson, the running back, ran for 180 yards. You can see, very, very balanced and very productive, running and passing. And that's just an example of the potential that this kind of team has. And keep in mind too, guys, that they're still without, probably their best receiver, Jeremiah Reed, who I believe, tore an ACL in the summer, and hopefully he'll be back at some point. But they're still without him, and they're still super productive. So yeah, Bartlett is really going to be dangerous, I think, going forward.
Yep, again, Bartlett at Grenada, as John said. Also some Mississippi games, Hernando at Center Hill, Lake Cormorant at South Haven, and DeSoto Central at Olive Branch, just to name a few. Keep up with John on Twitter for all prep football and all preps and everything else that he covers at the Daily Memphian. Follow him on Twitter at John Varlas. Of course, catch him every Friday right here on Sports 56 Mornings. We'll be back to normal time next Friday. John, thank you so much for being kind with the adjustment of your schedule. Great job. Have fun tonight.
Well, no, it's my pleasure to stand down for Coach Silverfield. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a good man, and I really have a lot of confidence in the Memphis Tigers tomorrow. So hopefully they can get it done.
All right, JV, we'll talk to you next week. We need to take a timeout. When we come back, we're talking Ole Miss and Alabama with David Johnson. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Jeep Adventure Days and Ram Power Days are going strong at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. And if you're ready to save big bucks, we Gossett! Show off your style in 2023 Fiat 500X Pop 4-door, Gossett priced at $28,990 or $354 a month with 0% APR. Or take your pick with 2023 Jeep Renegade or 2023 Dodge Charger, now just $422 a month. And if you're looking for big savings on your 2023 Ram 1500, get to Gossett for just $587 a month. And if we don't have it, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike, or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 3500 Elmas financed through Chrysler. Pop PP 988,763, MSRP 31,355. Renegade PPP 45,607, MSRP 30,500. Charger PH 508,657, MSRP 35,930. Ram PN 693, 3965, MSRP 48,330. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/30/2023 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Start your day the right way at La Palapa with the biggest, baddest breakfast burrito around. Chorizo, cheese, rice, beans, and eggs served with fresh salsa, and it's served all day. La Palapa has daily lunch specials, all served with rice and beans, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Try a torta, breaded chicken, steak, chorizo, or ham served with mayo, avocado, lettuce, tomato, and jalapenos, all in a hoagie. Plus amazing soups and dinner entrees, all at La Palapa, 5255 Summer Avenue. La Palapa, the little hut with big taste.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair because they just don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance carriers each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. This is why you call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates and consultation and love to assist homeowners with their claims. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, and diagnosing problems is second to none. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. And the best part of all you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and even Mulehide. We offer best-in-class warranties on all of our jobs, up to 50 years. When it comes to roofs and restoration, call Metro Builders to schedule your free inspection. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Sports 56 traffic.
Still working accident on Fraser Raleigh at Hawkins Mill. That's Fraser Raleigh at Hawkins Mill. New accident on Range Line at Whitney Avenue. Riley LaGrange at Chiswood Street. New accident on Mount Moriah at Truce Parkway. Still working accident on Lamar at Winchester. And that, so just take it easy out on the roadways. Still dealing with a lot of accidents. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:33 the time, hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston in St. Louis with the Tigers. Eli is off today. Zach Boyd producing the program back in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Winton Road, just north of I-40. And now we're joined by our friend David Johnson, who covers all things Ole Miss for 247 Sports and CBS Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Rebels247. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm good, Greg. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I love this slate of games. On paper, this looks like it's going to be a great weekend of college football. As I mentioned, I'm here in St. Louis for Memphis and Missouri in a battle of unbeaten teams. And, of course, your interest will be with the Ole Miss Rebels. Can they do it again? Go down to Tuscaloosa, beat Alabama. It's happened with Hugh Freeze. Can it happen with Lane Kiffin? Bama, a 6.5-point favorite. So many questions going into this game. First of all, for Ole Miss, how healthy is Quinshon Judkins?
Yeah, I think Quinshon's fine. He's been banged up and bruised up a little bit in the early goings, but, if he weren't fine, I don't think Lane would have played him against Georgia Tech, and he did. And, obviously things haven't been going as well as Quinshon would like in the early goings. I think there are multiple reasons for that. Part of that is a little bit of juggling going on the offensive line, and he's got to get it going tomorrow. That's for sure. Because if he doesn't, then I expect Alabama to pin their ears back and come after Jackson Dart and make it a long day for the Rebels. And it's important that Lane Kiffin's able to show some balance in what they do offensively Saturday in Tuscaloosa.
David, you said juggling on the offensive line. So I would presume there's either players that are hurt or maybe players that are ineffective. And is that the case, number one? And would that be the weakest spot right now on the offense, is that line?
Yeah, when you look at Ole Miss's returning offensive line, they returned 4 or 5 starters, including both tackles. Micah Pettis at right tackle and Jaden Williams at left tackle, who earned freshman All-American honors last year. But, what we've seen thus far is the Washington transfer, Victor Kearney, has kind of taken over at left tackle for Jaden Williams. And, that's a little bit surprising, to be honest with you. we knew they had to replace Nick Broker at left guard. Quincy McGee, the transfer from UAB, looks like maybe he's kind of, laying a claim to that stake right now. But so essentially, you look at the left side of the offensive line, and it's really all new from last year. And so you hope they iron the kinks out as they go along. But kink ironing time's over with. I mean, they kick off at 2:30 in Tuscaloosa tomorrow, and it's all for real.
Well, look, Ole Miss may have some issues there with the line and maybe some other areas. They're off to a really good start. Let's be honest here. Alabama's had issues as well, and they've had issues at the most important position at quarterback. As you know, Milroe will be back in the starting lineup, but who knows if he'll play the entire game. So that's a challenge for the Ole Miss defense, for Pete Golding to put together a game plan, devise a game plan to possibly face 1, 2, even 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I suppose that is right. But, if anybody knows those Alabama quarterbacks, it's Pete Golding due to the position he occupied last year. And
right.
I think they feel fine with that. The question is, and you've had all of this smoke out there about Alabama being in decline and everything. Well, tomorrow's when you find out for sure. Are you going to get traditional Alabama coming out in beast mode tomorrow, or is Ole Miss going to win this game? And, right now I think that's a 50-50. I don't feel confident in my pick for the game. I picked Ole Miss to win by a field goal, but I have no level of confidence in that.
Well, here's the thing. The Alabama offensive line has struggled more than I can remember. You have a situation which has not been okay. Don't get me wrong. You still see 5 stars all across the board. And defensively, it's a little bit different, right? As long as that secondary is healthy, they're really, really good. But they have some issues offensively. And ball as much as they've done in the past. And Ole Miss is capable, obviously, of doing a lot of good things offensively. I can see this and why Ole Miss could win this football game. We keep waiting for Alabama to snap out of it. Maybe they won't snap out of it.
Yeah, maybe they won't. You're right about that. And, again, if you've got a guy who knows Nick Saban's offense, it's former Alabama defensive coordinator Pete Golding. And, look,
right.
I've known Pete for a long time, and he's a fighter. He is gritty. He's going to carry everything he can into this game this week. And surprisingly, with Lane Kiffin's comments earlier this week, where essentially he fired Kevin Steele as Alabama's defensive coordinator, there hasn't been a lot of attention on Pete going back to Tuscaloosa this week.
Don't you think, David, and Lane's been kind of playing the games again like he always does. Nick always seems to respond to Lane, and maybe others he wouldn't. I guess it's still like his kind of a quasi-son to him. But, the whole thing with who's calling the plays on defense, that was kind of funny this week talking about that. But when it comes down to it, Lane Kiffin wants to beat Alabama bad. And I bet you if you talked to him behind closed doors, that wasn't something that was privy to the public knowing, and you said, would you rather win against Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl or win and no repercussions or win against Alabama? He'd want to beat Nick Saban in Alabama. This one's personal for Lane.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, it may be a little personal for Nick, to be honest with you, particularly, so many people think and have been quick to say Alabama football is in decline. Well, tomorrow's his chance to show the world that it's not in decline. And, you're dealing with Nick Saban here. If anybody's capable of getting their team to play a really good ball game in front of more than 100,000 in Tuscaloosa on Saturday, it's Nick Saban. I think Lane Kiffin would be the first person to admit to that. So, what's going to happen? I don't know. But as you said, it's part of a terrific slate of football for Saturday.
And, of course, for the Rebels, after against Mercer, Tulane, Georgia Tech, Bama, LSU next week at Vaught-Hemingway, Arkansas, which has been, they've struggled a little bit, have to go to the Plains and play Auburn. So these next 3-4 weeks really sets up for maybe what kind of year it's going to be for the Rebels.
Season defining, Greg. There is no other way you can put it. If Ole Miss is going to have a great season where they're actually chasing an SEC West title and an opportunity to finally get to Atlanta, they're going to do it over the next month of the season. I don't think anybody on the Ole Miss roster has been accused nor is looking ahead to next week's potentially tremendously huge game in Oxford against LSU.
Right.
But,
how could you? It's Alabama, right?
Yeah. I mean, how could you? The whole next month is huge. I mean, let's say Ole Miss gets by Alabama, Ole Miss upsets LSU in Oxford, and if they get by Alabama, I don't know how big of an upset that would be. You've got KJ Jefferson coming back home. The kid that wanted to come to Ole Miss, and Ole Miss really didn't give him a cup of coffee until the very end of his recruitment.
Oh, did we lose David?
Hey, you guys there? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, David, I'm having a little audio problem here from where I'm at. I can
same here.
barely hear you now.
Okay, good deal. But
go ahead.
If Ole Miss were to beat Alabama, if Ole Miss were to beat LSU, you've got KJ Jefferson coming in here, who doesn't like the Ole Miss program. I mean, he wanted to come to Ole Miss, and wasn't afforded that opportunity until the very end of his recruitment. And then if you get past Arkansas, you've got to go down to Auburn on the Plains, where your former coach, Hugh Freeze, is lying in wait for you. So, this is it. This is a season-defining stretch for Ole Miss beginning tomorrow in Tuscaloosa.
All right, final thing for you, scale 1 through 10. Jackson Dart's playing at a what?
Oh, man, he's playing at a 9. He's been the team MVP, hands down. I saw something last night. I'm not quite ready to go there yet, but Jackson Dart for Heisman consideration. But he's got to put these numbers up against Alabama, LSU, Arkansas, and Auburn before I get there. But man, the kid's playing lights out. He's terrific. We told everybody since spring ball that Jackson Dart was going to be the starting quarterback. Everything else was purely semantics, and Jackson Dart is doing a great job.
You told us that here on our show. I know that, David, and you've been right on with it. He's David Johnson. He covers Ole Miss for 247 Sports and CBS Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Rebels247. It will certainly be a fun day in Tuscaloosa for the Rebels and the Tide. I'm sure I'll be talking to you here soon, David, about that and the rest of the season for the Rebels. Thank you, as always. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
He is David Johnson. I want to tell you folks about Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. Great place for lunch, for dinner, anytime is a good time for Corky's. You can dine in, carry out, have that no-contact delivery when you drive through any of their 4 locations. You could also have any of the services deliver, DoorDash or whoever, deliver to your location, whether it be at home or at the office, and they will cater. They've been catering as long as they've been in existence, which has been about 4 decades. So let them cater with that slow-smoked barbecue, the delicious barbecue, and those great sides that they have as well. Those barbecue nachos and the cheese and sausage plates, all out of this world. And they'll start you out as low as just $8.99 per person. Party packs starting at just $7.49. Lunch specials every single day. If it's something else you're hankering for, how about their award-winning catfish plate? Even tamales and hamburgers at Corky's. Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. And pick up a Corky's gift card while you're there. Also, you can reserve their private party room at the Cordova or the Olive Branch location. You'll have a little party. You want a little fun at a restaurant? Well, they have it for you there with the private party room at Cordova and Olive Branch. All you have to do is call and reserve your date and time. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. It's open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We interrupt this broadcast for special news and information concerning family leisure.
The world's biggest spa sale is back and bigger than ever at Family Leisure. How is that possible? Well, let me tell you. You start off with 50 different spa models to choose from 5 different manufacturers. Then you throw in up to 30% off in-stock spas and swim spas. But is that all? Oh, no. You get free upgrades on all in-stock spas, plus 24 months, same as cash. Wow! This is the kind of sale that you just can't have every day. But it's happening right now at Family Leisure, the world's biggest spa sale. Soak in the savings right now at Family Leisure, Witten Road and I-40. You know the place where family and fun come together.
Please remain calm and walk. Don't run to Family Leisure. And now back to your regular programming.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Want to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees? Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is your place. You can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59 plus tax, including cards. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and now is available to everyone. A membership is only $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar. Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on clubs. Call 870-394-4186 today for your Tuesday through Sunday tee time at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis.
Hey everybody, fall is happening here in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevy. Not only can you get the new 2023 Silverado this week, you can get financing as low as 0 interest for 3 months with no payments. And your good credit deserves this. So come drive a Silverado or one of these new Traverses. See Kevin or Jeff if you want to do a custom order. And if you're a first responder, educator, military, recent college grad, healthcare professional, September is your month for bonus cash and more here at All-Star Chevy. Just see Kevin or Jeff, and they asked me to thank all of you who are bringing your cars and your trucks here to sell. All-Star is still paying crazy good money, and you can get a check today, even if you still owe money on it. And All-Star's certified and pre-owned selection is loaded. I see lots of Silverados, Ram trucks, here's a Denali, even a Mercedes. They're all spot on. And if you need service or maintenance, call Sean or Jeff in the All-Star Service Department. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Bartlett, not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy today or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome you back to Sports 56 Mornings, wrapping up hour number 2. I am on location today in Clayton, Missouri, just outside St. Louis with the Memphis Tigers, getting ready for the Memphis Tigers-Missouri Tigers battle tomorrow at the Dome. To be official, the Dome at America Center in downtown St. Louis. Zach Boyd producing the program back in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Eli is off today. He will return on Monday. By the way, Monday we'll be broadcasting live from Fair Oaks Golf Course. Got an event out there, and we'll tell you more about that on Monday, but we'll be out at Fair Oaks on Monday broadcasting the show, of course, from 7 until 10. Coming up at 9:05, Brandon Lang, as he will handicap some of the most important college football games on the docket and some of the NFL games as well. As the NFL week began last night, in case you missed it, San Francisco, no problems, knocking off the New York Giants 30-12. Also last night in college football, pretty good Sun Belt game, Coastal Carolina and Georgia State. And Georgia State ends up getting the win in Conway, 30-17. Georgia State, 4-0. Coastal Carolina, really good team, drops to 2-2. I think they're the Panthers. Georgia, you know that, Zach, off the top of your head? Are they the Panthers, Georgia State?
Yes, they are.
30-17 win to go to 4-0. So some of the games of interest this weekend and the odds that go with those games. We just talked to David Johnson about Ole Miss and Alabama. Bama is a 6.5-point favorite. The Memphis, Missouri game that we talked about, Missouri is a 6.5-point favorite. Elsewhere, Tennessee is a 21.5-point favorite over UTSA. I have not heard anything more about Frank Harris and whether or not Frank Harris can quarterback for UTSA. If he can, they can hang. But Tennessee's got to be angry. I imagine it's going to be a big, big offensive output for Tennessee after what happened in the Swamp. Arkansas gets 17.5 at LSU. We made our picks yesterday during our pick six. I believe that maybe all of us took Arkansas in the points, or at least 3 of the 4 of us took Arkansas in the points at LSU. LSU looked so good in whipping up on Mississippi State on the road. They come back home. I'm not saying there's a letdown. They'll win, and I think they'll win comfortably. But Arkansas, we were talking yesterday, Harold Grader, I asked him the question, I said, is the honeymoon over for Sam Pittman? And for Hogs fans out there, they may want to text in. I know that you're out there listening, 360-8255. What are you thinking right now with Sam Pittman? Sam Pittman, friend of the show. He's been fun, colorful, real good guy to deal with, to work with for anybody in Fayetteville. I've heard so many good things about him, but this team is sputtering. And it doesn't hurt, or doesn't help rather, that you have Rocket Sanders hurt. But still, you got to win, and you got to win big in the SEC. Auburn gets 8 at Texas A&M. That'll be an interesting game. Hugh Freeze off to a good start in his Auburn tenure, but now a little bit more of a challenge. You go to College Station, but you just never know with Texas A&M. SMU TCU, an interesting game. SMU gets 6.5 at TCU. SMU, of course, last year in the American Conference. UAB gets 42.5 on the road at number 1 Georgia. Georgia kind of sleptwalked through the first half against South Carolina last week and then scored 24 unanswered in the second half to win. But UAB is no South Carolina, so this should be a walk in the park. I just don't know if Kirby runs up the score against Trent Dilfer and company. That's a lot of points, 42.5. Texas minus 14.5 at Baylor. The Longhorns playing good football. Are they back? They may be back. Iowa gets 15 at Penn State in the Big Ten. Mississippi State gets a half dozen at South Carolina. Can the Bulldogs bounce back and win on the road after getting beaten up at home by LSU? Colorado, a game that a lot of people are interested in, at Oregon, again, remains a 21-point spread. That was the spread when it first came out from Vegas. Remains at 21. Colorado plus 21 at Oregon. Of course, Hunter will not be playing in this particular game. He'll be out for a few weeks for Colorado, their sensational two-way player. Kentucky, 13.5-point favorite as they go to Nashville to play Vanderbilt. And another big one, Ohio State, minus 3 at Notre Dame. So you talk about some of these huge games nationally. Ohio State minus 3 in South Bend, and then Florida State minus 2 at Clemson. It was minus 2.5. It's now minus 2. Florida State minus 2 at Clemson. I like Florida State in that one, and Ohio State minus 3 at Notre Dame. Oh, by the way, this is interesting. Our friend Steve Berkowitz from USA Today wrote this story. All the conversations we've had for several years now, since the news first came down that Oklahoma and Texas were leaving the Big 12 to go to the SEC, and that started that chain reaction, the domino effect with all this movement that we've had and still are having. And we wondered, when they would get out of their deal, and they finally were able to get out before the final year, and they'll join next season. So I'm going to read this verbatim from USA Today. The universities of Texas and Oklahoma, two of the most powerful brands of college sports, will leave the Big 12 Conference for the SEC in 9 months, but will suffer a much less financial impact from the move than the $160 million that was originally expected. The Big 12 announced in February, of course, they would forego $100 million from the conference under an agreement that allows the schools to leave a year earlier. But USA Today is reporting that it's going to be a lot less money than what was originally announced. In fact, they said the conference said, conference said more than $80 million of that is based on money the schools will not get in 2024-25, the year after the move. The rest is attributed to cuts in full revenue shares for the 23-24 season that Texas and Oklahoma and the rest of the Big 12's continuing members will be taking to finance payments promised to 4 schools that joined the conference this summer. So it's a little complicated, but the bottom line is this, that Texas and Oklahoma will not be having that big financial impact. Not that it really matters for those type of schools, the money they've made, the money they will make, but it is much less of an impact than first thought as far as that is concerned. Also, Steve Berkowitz reported that Colorado is being given $2.5 million by the Big 12. So they're joining the Big 12, and I'm not sure what the exit fee, the exit fee will be nothing, because the Pac-12 will not have a contract after this year. So they're getting $2.5 million to join the Big 12. That was reported as well by USA Today this morning. All right, when we come back, hour number 3, it will be Brandon Lang handicapping college football and the NFL. And then our final segment, it's going to be a smorgasbord. We're going to have a lot of different things to touch on and a lot of chances for you to participate with your calls and texts as we get ready for the sports weekend, and it should be a dandy. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Purple Wave Auction understands that it takes the right equipment to maximize profits in the field. That equipment is up for auction every week at purplewave.com. Bid on hundreds of items from John Deere, Kubota, Case IH, and more. Our marketplace transparency makes bidding on those tractors, balers, and sprayers safe and easy. Equipment sells to the highest bidder regardless of price. Get started now at purplewave.com. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Ready for a new ride? We got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it with 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $229 a month, $29.99 to its signing. Get some EV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind SUV. 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 to its signing. Plus, check out 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. Get up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGe, $399 a month, $49.99 to its signing. And Gossett will include a free charger with your EV purchase, all 36-month leases, plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678,605, MSRP 21,610, Nero P507,859, MSRP 41,090, EV6 P56,109,64, MSRP 49,687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See deal for complete details, offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
If you've tried to buy a Rolex watch lately, you know how difficult it is. New models are in rare supply. Some jewelers put you on wait lists. Others make you buy their other jewelry at inflated prices just to be considered for a Rolex purchase. Well, that's all changed now that Genesis Diamonds has arrived. Genesis Diamonds is the premier dealer of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. People who come in are shocked to see Daytonas, Hulks, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejusts, all the hard-to-find Rolex watches ready to wear today. At Genesis, we've used our worldwide connections to find only the first luxury pre-owned Rolexes, immaculate, pristine watches, fairly priced with no strings attached, and with flexible financing options. So enough with the wait list and the retail jeweler games. Get the Rolex of your dreams today at Genesis Diamonds. And if you already have a Rolex and are interested in trading up, we also have Rolex buyers on site every day. Just another example of how we're forever changing the jewelry landscape here. Genesis Diamonds, official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness, exercise your right to look good.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Sports 56 Traffic.
I guess you guys need to hear Greg Gaston's voice more often when it comes to traffic, because we are down to just about 3 little incidents on the roadways this morning to start hour number 3. Rangeline Road at Whidden Avenue, that's Rangeline at Whitney Avenue. Mount Moriah at Truce Parkway is your other accident there. Then new accident on I-40 East at Jackson Avenue as the other one. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Witness the power.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I've been roaming around, always looking down at all I see.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Mornings. Final hour today, final hour this week. Greg Gaston on location. I am in Clayton, Missouri, just outside St. Louis, getting set for Memphis and Missouri tomorrow night. 6:30 kickoff from the Dome at America's Center. A couple of 3-0 teams. Zach Boyd producing the program back in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. The world's biggest spa sale going on right now. This weekend, maybe a good time to check them out. In between football games, Saturday or Sunday, go on over to Family Leisure, see what they have to offer. Eli is off today. He will be back on Monday. We'll be broadcasting live on Monday from Fair Oaks Golf Course. But what a fun weekend this should be with college football and a lot of really good matchups, at least on paper. Last weekend was, although we had some interesting games, a lot of games that were not expected to be close ended up being closer than we thought. I think some of those teams that were heavy favorites kind of went through the motions, to be honest with you. But this week, there's going to be a lot of importance in some of these games that may dictate conference championship games, playoff spots. It's not going to be the end-all, be-all, but it's certainly going to be extremely important, and that includes Florida State, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, on and on and on, plus a great slate of NFL games. We're going to talk about a lot of them right now with Brandon Lang.
It's time to handicap this week's action. Joining Greg and Eli is sports handicapper Brandon Lang, subject of the movie Two for the Money.
It's P equals P. You walk into a strip bar and you let her take your hand and drag you into that champagne room. Pressure equals problems. You just can't do it. And I'm telling you, pressure equals problems in the NFL.
Get Brandon's plays at BrandonLang.com.
There's 4 things you can't handicap in sports. There's 4 things. Penalties, turnovers, player stupidity, and coaching stupidity. What are they smoking?
Also, listen to Brandon with Clay Harbor and Cam Rogers on the Believe Podcast Network.
You're on a dating app, and they don't show a body picture. Run! Run!
Now, here's Brandon with Greg and Eli.
He is the one and only Brandon Lang. He joins us every Friday to talk college football and the NFL. I love the ending of that. Isn't that so funny? Run!
I literally had a buddy in Boulder, Curtis, and he just got over a really bad relationship, and he's so happy with me and mine. He's like, you deserve it, and everything I went through, yada yada. And he called me last night after we had the Niners minus the points, and he called me and he said, what's your record with your girl in your life? And I said, I haven't lost a week in football yet. 3 straight winning weeks. And the football days, Thursday through Monday, which, you got baseball Tuesday, Wednesday when there's no football, but Thursday through Monday, that 5-day run, we've gone 3-2, 4-1, 3-2. So it's amazing how love can put you in an unbelievable mindset. And Eli texted me and says, I am never going against the slap game ever again.
You can't go against the slap game. You can't.
Nope. No, she's got a humdinger this week. Like I think there's a bruise from the kitchen on Tuesday because she came down. And you listen, like when you were a kid and you got spanked, you expected it in like whatever. But it's like it's like the NBA guy makes the free throw and the dude at half court rolls over and pops him on his butt and says, hey, let's go make that next one. It's just a little pop. I was at the fridge and out of the corner of my eye I could see her coming back down. Bam! I mean, there was some, like, maybe she got some bad news at work upstairs or just something. There was a little, I can take it on.
Little extra?
Little extra emphasis on that one. And I'm not saying the handprint's fully gone yet, but that's a stinger. It was like, 5-day DL maybe. 5-day DL.
Wow.
Questionable for Sunday.
Don't give us the slap game yet. Just tell me, is it going to be college or NFL?
Oh, it's college. It's
okay.
A big,
okay.
And listen, she said I may have a second one. I'm waiting for her to text me. And she said I'll text you. She's listening to the show. She said I'm going to text you once the show starts. What the other slap game is going to be? So
double slap week
from
Oh
my girl.
My!
The two-handed. This may be the paddle comes out of the basement slap game type deal. So I'm saying, you know what? I'm waiting for the text. But here we go. So
all right. Well, I'm afraid if I start off with some of these big ones, it's going to be one of them, and I want to save the slap game. But I'll ask you. I hope it's not Ohio State -3 at Notre Dame. It's the slap game.
That's the.
You got to be kidding me.
As soon as they said that, my right butt cheek kind of flinched. Like that hurt. Like I'm a big boy.
All right,
6'4",
hold on. Don't
240.
answer it. Don't answer it. We're holding off on that one. I can't believe the first thing I say. It's the slap game.
Yep.
All right. Another big one. I mean, this is a great card. Florida State -2 at Clemson.
Let me tell you something. There are some numbers that I'm going to throw at you with this game here that's going to blow you away. Now, I know that Florida State struggled last week against BC. I get it. But listen to these, and I don't know how Clemson wins this game, just because I think Florida State's such the better team, especially with what we saw from Clemson losing to Duke. And yeah, Clemson kind of dominated the game, but they turned it over. So here we go. Dabo Swinney, since 2008, is 93-8 in Death Valley. Okay? Against undefeated teams straight up, he's 17-2. And since 2015, he's 14-0.
Holy moly.
So how do you not, just based on those numbers, and Clemson's 5-0 straight up against the spread last 5 in this series. So Mike Norvell has struggled in this spot. I don't like the game. I'm going to step back and see if Clemson rises up and plays a complete game at home. I loved Florida State before this game last week, and then I watched the BC game, and BC hung with them. And I'm like, you know what? If Florida State was all that in a bag of chips, they'd have went into BC and won that game by 3 touchdowns. And so that's the red flag for me. And so I'm going to step back. But based on those numbers, you got to take Clemson plus points.
Ole Miss travels to Tuscaloosa to play Bama. Bama struggling with the quarterback situation, but they're 6.5-point favorites over unbeaten Ole Miss.
Down to 4.5.
Down to 4.5. Wow.
Down to 4.5. So the question is, from a value standpoint, when are you ever going to get Nick Saban laying less than 7 at home? You just never get it. You never
Right.
get it. So based on the value of the number, you have to take Alabama. He's 21-7 against the number in conference games when coming off back-to-back ATS losses, including 9-0 against the spread, coming off a double-digit win. And if the team he's facing is undefeated, he's 4-0 straight up and against the spread with an average win margin of 30. This is that, oh me, oh my Nick, we're this, we're that. I don't know what I'm going to do with this team. My hair's out of place. I'm balding a little bit. I didn't win the national championship. Then they go out and win by 3 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
I think Alabama's
Wow.
the right side of the game.
Okay. This is an interesting game only for the sense that I don't know how good Auburn is. Hugh Freeze's first year. Texas A&M, every time you think they're going to zig, they zag. Auburn gets 8 in College Station.
I like them. I I watched A&M play Miami of Florida. I wasn't impressed. They got manhandled. They're 7-11 against the number in conference openers as a favorite. 1-6 against the spread. If the team they're playing allows 16 points or fewer, which Auburn is, I think it's too many points. I just do. Not a game I love, but I lean toward the dog here based on bad A&M numbers.
Speaking of a lot of points, and this must be tough when you're a handicapper like yourself, because UTSA, when Frank Harris plays, they're pretty good. They're getting 21.5 at Tennessee. Tennessee's going to be angry after what happened in the Swamp, but I don't know if Frank Harris is playing, so I don't know if you have any information. So how would you play that one?
I would stay away. UTSA
Stay away?
is a turnover machine. Yeah, they're a turnover machine. I mean, I know it's in your neck of the woods, so you got to play it. Wait for the game time decision. If Harris plays, that game's going over the posted total. That game's going to fly over. So if Harris plays, play the over, and then stay away.
LSU looked great last week in destroying an overmatched Mississippi State team. Arkansas has had some problems, but they're getting 17.5 in Death Valley. Is LSU going to be able to cover 17.5?
Bad number for LSU. 3-12 as a favorite in conference home openers. 0-8-1 when favored by 13 or more points. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I think on the Vegas board, Brian Kelly is 3-9, 3-10, 3-10, 3-10 his last 13 on the Vegas board, making nobody any money. So I'll take Arkansas plus the points.
Okay. One more, and then we'll get to our big slap game. Let's do Colorado and Oregon. Colorado does the pumpkin, does the carriage turn into the pumpkin? 21 points they're getting, though, at Oregon.
How clueless is Vegas with this team? Game 1, TCU, let's give them 20.5. They went outright. Game 2 at home, let's let them lay 3 against Nebraska. They win easily. Vegas gets destroyed, loses big money. Game 3 at home in Colorado State, let's make them a 23.5-point home favorite. Not even close. And so now Vegas says, all right, let's jack them back up to plus 20.5. So for me, I think they cover. I don't think they win. I don't think they have any chance of winning this game outright. But with that offense, and as well as that offense is playing, I think back doors open. I think it's too many points, so I lean toward Neon Prime Time plus points.
All right, time for our college football slap game of the week.
Well, she just texted me and said, South Florida, and this is what she just wrote in the text. She says, it's like you go to Vegas and you just meet this ungodly girl, and she takes you to places you've never been, done things to you never seen, and you're just like in a daze, and you get in your car and you drive back to L.A., and you're just the whole 4-hour car ride. You're like, what just happened? Am I going to see her again? Did she give me a fake phone number? It went right to voicemail. My God, she was the dime piece I'll never get again. And then you go back home and there's your 5'4" portly girlfriend, glasses, and you're like, wow. I just stood toe-to-toe and brought my A game with that dime piece in Vegas. And now I got to go back home to that. That's South Florida. They stood toe-to-toe with Alabama. They just, you know what? They went into Bama. They played their A game. They're so confident now. And now they're coming home to face Rice. And they're getting 2.5. South Florida plus 2.5 is slap game number 2. The main slap game, mind you, Notre Dame plus 3.5. And when she came down and she wound up, I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, it just kind of wound up. Bam! She said outright. The slap was for the outright call, upset Notre Dame outright.
Notre Dame outright, slap game, the big one. Slap game number 2 with the bonus slap game, South Florida. There you go, folks. Brandon's taking the hit for you folks, so you can win with your bank account. He's taking the brunt of it, although he loves it. I guarantee you he does. All right, let's get to the NFL. I don't like the slate particularly. First of all, is there one that jumps out at you? Yeah, is there one you really, really like?
It's just horrible. Houston plus the points over Jacksonville. I don't know what
Houston
it is about
plus
Houston.
the points. Okay.
The Texans are 15-3 their last 18 games against Jacksonville, straight up. Let me say that again.
Wow.
Throw the points out the window. They're 15-3 straight up last 18 games with Jacksonville, and they're getting close to 10 points. As a home favorite, Jags 0-4 against the spread their last 4. And if the Jags are a favorite after being a dog in their previous game, 2-13 straight up, 1-14 against the number. The same thing. This is Jacksonville played last week against Kansas City. It was the dime piece. It was the hottest girl in the world, and she did all kind of freaky deaky, and now you're like, Houston, here come the Cougars. Like, we got to get back up for Houston. Oh my God, it was just unbelievable. Oh my God, here comes Houston. Houston plus points.
I'm with you, and I never bought into that Jacksonville last week. Everybody and their mom bought into Jacksonville.
Killed me.
No way.
Killed
no
me.
way.
First and goal with the one. Quarterback sneak it 4 times. Instead, let's run my quarterback outside and lose 3 yards. I swear to God, I almost got in my car. I almost drove down to Jacksonville with my big yellow wiffle ball bat in the back. I was going to go to Jacksonville Stadium, find Doug Peterson, and just start beating on him with that plastic yellow wiffle ball bat, just to let him know how angry I was. But my girl said, no, it's too long to drive. And she says, I'm not going. She said, give me a private jet, I'll go with you. But she says, no, I ain't driving no car 12 hours. So that was that. So, yeah.
I understand, Brandon, that Aaron Rodgers is hurt for the Jets. I understand that. But they're at home. They're playing the Patriots. The Patriots are 0-2. They're not real good. The Jets have a great defense. Why are the Patriots the favorite by 2.5 in New York or in New Jersey, actually?
The public's perception of Bill Belichick and the public's perception of Zach Wilson. And my stance is this, is that Patriots are 5-0 against the spread in this series, 6-1, and when both teams are coming off straight up against their loss. So it's a series that's been dominated by New England. I took the Jets plus the points over the Bills and watched Zach Wilson get myself a victory. It's not a game I'm going to play, but if you put a gun to my head and said if I had to play it, you guys know I'm a home dog guy. So I would take I'd take the home dog.
But it's one you wouldn't play. How about
you know what? Let me tell you this. 2 teams, 7-point teaser. I'll take the Jets up to plus 9.5. I'll take Washington up. I think they're getting 7. I'll take them up to plus 14. And I'll get 2 home dogs getting close to double. It's 2-team teaser, Washington and the Jets. There you go.
Okay, fair enough. Detroit, I like Detroit a lot. They lost a tough one at home to Seattle last week. Atlanta is 2-0, but I think that's smoke and mirrors. Detroit is a 3-point favorite. I think they cover that and beat Atlanta. What about you?
Let's stay with the theme. It's the theme of the whole show. Detroit goes to Kansas City. There's that hot chick that took you to places you never thought about. They beat Kansas City outright. She breaks out all kinds of stuff for you, and there you go. And then what do? You come back home to face Seattle laying points, and you get beat. That's the theme of the show. You got the dime piece that took you to the promised land, and then you come back home with the 5 going, well, here we go. Now we got to get up for this. I need Viagra, Cialis, put them together, whatever. It's the same thing. Detroit was in a bad spot. Here comes Atlanta. False 2-0. Detroit minus the point.
Chargers, Minnesota, at least from Vegas's point of view, they expect this one to be a tight one. Both teams 0-2. Can't afford to go to 0-3. Minnesota at home, a 1-point favorite.
Bro, if I'm watching games and this comes on the screen, I'll turn away. My remote won't even find the game. Brandon Staley and Kirk Cousins, although Minnesota is really good to
That's
me.
right.
That's right. Kirk Cousins was good to me a couple Thursdays ago, get me the back door in the Philadelphia game. But it's like, I said Staley's going to be the first guy fired this year. I still believe that. I didn't think they should have given him a contract extension that we talked about on your show. So with that being said, I believe talent-wise, the Chargers are better. With Minnesota at home, I think I lean towards that, but it's a game that I'm going to stay away from.
All right, finally, there's 2 Monday night games, so double our pleasure. Philly, Tampa Bay, that particular game. Bucks playing pretty good. So far, Baker's playing pretty good, but Philadelphia is a 5-point road favorite. Do they cover 5? Do they win the game?
This is my slap game. Like, she doesn't know when my slap's coming, but boys, can I tell you, Daddy's coming with the slap, boys. Just, payback is a you-know-what. This is my slap game. Tampa Bay plus the points. Don't be surprised if Tampa Bay shock the world outright. Philadelphia 1-9 against the spread as a non-division road chalk of 4 or more points. There is going to be hell to pay with my slap game. Tampa Bay wins the game outright.
So there you go. Quick recap. Brandon's ladies slap game of the week has Notre Dame outright over Ohio State. They're playing at home. And then a bonus slap of South Florida. And then Brandon throws in a little slap of his own. And there you have it with Tampa Bay. Take the points. You may not need the points, though. Good stuff, Brandon, as always, man. Have a great time watching these games, handicapping these games. Make sure to check out Brandon on his podcast, the Believe Me podcast with Clay Harbor and Cam Rogers, BrandonLang.com. Check him out every Wednesday. Make that every Friday right here on Sports 56 Mornings. Have a great weekend, man.
Thanks, bud. Be good.
Take care. The always colorful and entertaining Brandon Lang. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. It's a simple call away. Just dial up Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084, locally owned and operated, or go online to newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing with different plans and options to choose from, including a 6, 12, or 18-month same-as-cash option. They'll work with your insurance company. They'll work out of pocket, whatever it takes. They are part of the Roofs for Troops program. Any veteran, active or retired, you get a $250 rebate on the purchase of a new roof. They do residential and commercial roofing. So business owners, property managers, listen up, homeowners, obviously. If you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. Don't forget about the $100 referral fee for all new roofs. You know somebody, family member, friend that needs a new roof, you refer them to Pinnacle. Pinnacle will give you $100 for that referral if they buy that new roof. 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof, satisfaction guaranteed with all their work. That includes carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, put up fencing, siding, rotten wood repair. They can install shingles. Whatever you can't do yourself, call the experts at Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. For all your roofing and home repair needs, call Brandon. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, 901-438-5084, or online at newroofmemphis.com. Final 30 minutes of the show coming up. Love to hear from you on the Sports 56 listener lines. You can call in or text in 901-360-8255. Talking Tigers and Tigers, all college football, NFL, NBA, with the Grizzlies opening up camp less than 2 weeks away from that. We will talk about all those topics with you, if you like, at 360-8255. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
When the weather gets better, I found a new place to really soak it in. It's the patio at the Commissary in Collierville. We all love the delicious Memphis-style barbecues. You can begin your barbecue fest with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos. Oh, those smoked chicken wings, they're terrific too. Then dig into the ribs or the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich. A big sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. You've got choice, and you've got choice in places. Don't forget the Germantown Commissary as well. Comes with beans and slaw, deviled eggs they're famous for. And Brad, you can even order by the pound, a 6-pack or an 8-pack or even a 12-pack. The Boss Man salad, the chicken plate, the barbecue shrimp. There's something for everybody, and those great desserts. The best icebox lemon pie anywhere. Or my favorite, the banana pudding. Check out the patio, TVs for sports, and music on the weekends. You love the Commissary.
Give me liberty and give me real estate.
I'm Sheldon Rosengarten, and that was Hugh Mallory.
Not only does he work with me at Mark Spenstorf Realtors, he's the president of this year's AutoZone Liberty Bowl. So Hugh, instead of sounding like Patrick Henry, what do you mean?
Well, Sheldon, like you, I sell real estate. I'm also privileged to serve as president of the 65th AutoZone Liberty Bowl, which will be held Friday, December 29th at 2:30. I'm able to handle all my clients, whether they're buying or selling, while participating in this great annual tradition.
Hugh, that is definitely quite an honor, and with your fabulous track record in real estate sales, I know you'll do a great job. Hugh will move you as something to remember, and you can reach Hugh Mallory at 497-9756. It's also why people often say that when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn. You can reach me, Shell Dunn Rosengarten, at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. That's MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546. See you at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl on December 29th.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hey fellas, Bill Russell here at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I've got a question for you. When was the last time you surprised your wonderful lady with something nice for absolutely no reason at all? Not a birthday, not an anniversary, but for no reason other than to show her that you do not take her and all she does for you for granted. For 38 years, we've been helping Memphis men show their ladies how grateful they are to have them in their lives. For special occasions, well, gifts are expected. But a lot of time, the unexpected presents given for no reason other than love have the most impact and say the most to her. Those gifts say you care all the time. The size or the price of the gift is of very little importance. It's the thought you put into it that will make her smile. Come see me, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Let us help you find just the right thing, large or small, that will let her know how you feel. Russell Brothers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawald Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawald is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Okay, this car looked great wrapped around you,
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
The body's a temple, that's why we're taught. I've traded this.
Welcome back, everybody. 9:30 the time. Final half hour for us today here on Sports 56 Mornings. I'm Greg Gaston on location in the St. Louis area with the Memphis Tigers as they get set to take on the Missouri Tigers tomorrow. Zach Boyd producing the program back in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40, where the world's biggest spa sale continues. Eli off today. He'll return on Monday. Waldo and Friends is coming up next, and Dave Woloshin will be broadcasting from this same hotel that I'm at, Le Meridian Hotel in Clayton, Missouri. For those who didn't hear us at the beginning of the show talking about Clayton, I had no idea about this. I just thought it was a little town, little suburb around the St. Louis area, and it is a suburb of St. Louis, but it's actually quite large, with some big buildings and great restaurants, really nice place as we stay here in Clayton. Yesterday I had a good time over at Top Golf. The whole team went to Top Golf in the St. Louis area, well outside the city. I mean, it's not even close to the city, whereas obviously the one that's going up in Memphis is not near downtown, but it's not that far from downtown and pretty easy to get to from anywhere. I can't wait till it opens up. It is really fun. If you haven't been to a Top Golf, that's the first time I've been to one. It was a lot of fun. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can call in or text in 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. We will not have 10 in a row, unfortunately, this week because of just our circumstances with Eli off and me here on the road, but it will return next Friday. And we do have an open 30 minutes. So if, again, you want to call in, text in, please do so. What do you think about the Memphis Tigers? How about any of you folks that are driving up to St. Louis or plan to drive to St. Louis maybe sometime today, maybe leave early tomorrow? It's a 6:30 game on Saturday. So I think those who are probably going up will either make a weekend of it or will go Saturday, stay over, and then probably come back on Sunday. About a 4.5 hour drive, pretty much. Easy drive up Interstate 55. I've never been inside this dome, but I imagine it's very similar to other domes that I've been to for games, and many of them. I was thinking about this yesterday, how many of the domes I've been to, and the only dome I could think of that I've never been to is the new one out in Vegas. And I guess SoFi is SoFi considered a dome, Zach?
I think so. Because
so
even though they got like that little part where I guess, they let some of the natural air or sunlight that comes through. Because I know during the Super Bowl, it was raining inside the parts of the arena.
That's right.
I still consider it as a dome because it's still covering most of the field. It's covering the field.
Yeah, so I haven't been to those. I was never at the Kingdome before they demolished the Kingdome, but I was at the Metrodome before they demolished that sucker. And then in Atlanta, in New Orleans, others that I've been to. I was never in the Astrodome, though. Never in the Astrodome. That still exists. They do some things in the Astrodome, but they have Reliant or whatever it's called now, whatever the sponsor is of that stadium, and been to that one. So I've been to quite a few, and I would imagine that it is just a dome. Oh, of course, Jerry's World for the Cotton Bowl, which was now that's quite the spectacle. But this thing, you think about it, this is a big old dome that used to house the greatest show on turf. The Rams, the Super Bowl champs, and they're gone. You have the Battlehawks of the XFL, soon to probably merge with the USFL, but I would imagine the Battlehawks will exist because they have done really well with fan support. Fans are dying for football up here. So I don't know if anything else actually happens inside that dome. No. So there is a lot of events that have left, including those events that were the Los Angeles Rams or the St. Louis Rams, and gone now. And so they're probably dying to have some of these other activities. This game, the Missouri game, Missouri has not played in this dome since 2010. So it's 13 years in the making, and I don't know if there's the plans to do so. It just happened to be wanting to get out of the commitment with Memphis contractually, and this is what they came up with. But again, if you're thinking this is a neutral site game, it is not by any stretch, not just because of the obvious. It's in Missouri, St. Louis, not far from Columbia, a lot of fans, a lot of players from St. Louis. But I've already seen the pictures. I haven't been over to the Dome yet, but I've already seen the pictures, and they have the Missouri logo right on the center of the field. They have Mizzou painted in the end zones, both end zones. There isn't one with the Tigers and one with Mizzou, or Memphis and one with Mizzou. No, it's all Mizzou. So this is a road game for Memphis, a big challenge for the Tigers at 6.5 points. I took the Tigers and the University of Memphis Tigers and the points. I don't know. I don't know. This game, I think, will be the gauge for the rest of the season. They've played 3 games. Okay? We know they've played Bethune-Cookman, overmatched. Arkansas State, overmatched. Navy, different, a little interesting, and gave the Tigers a tussle. But again, you could throw in how different they are, triple option offense and all that.
I didn't like that the Tigers were out physicaled in the first half, but they got it back in the second half and played more like they're capable of doing. But really, we don't know how good they are, even though they're 3-0. Missouri, we may have learned a lot more last week because they beat Kansas State. Doesn't mean it's the end-all be-all that they're a great team, but they got a great win. But the story, to me, is Brady Cook. And if Brady Cook is unable to go, and his status is questionable, then I think he gives the Tigers a much better chance to win. It's obvious, right? Sam Horn, even though he could be a good one, doesn't have the experience. He's thrown 5 passes, one be it for a touchdown, one for a pick. So if they don't have their leader out there, who last year had a shoulder injury, which he sustained in the game at Kansas State, so he's had these injuries that have come up against good competition, unfortunately for him. So he's battled these injuries. It's interesting that they called it a hyperextended knee earlier in the week. Pete Thamel had first reported that. And then Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach of Missouri, meeting the media, said that's a bone bruise. Now, I don't know which one's worse, but bone bruise, hyperextended knee, whatever the case may be, is this guy's not going to be 100% if he plays. He is a St. Louis native, so he certainly is going to do everything he can to play in front of the home crowd, in front of his friends and family. But again, if he can't go, it's certainly, now I wouldn't say complete advantage for Memphis, but it's a lot better situation because Brady Cook, he is capable of picking you apart. And when you can go to Luther Burden, and they will go to Luther Burden with Sam Horn or whoever's quarterback, and Garcia, it doesn't matter. He's getting the ball. He's the guy that the Tigers have to keep in check. And if you missed our interview earlier today with Ryan Silverfield, you can catch that on our website. I'm sure Zach will post it as featured audio, or you can listen to the first hour podcast. He was on at 7:15. He talked about Burden. They know he's going to catch the ball. They know he's going to get jet sweeps. They just have to make sure that they can contain him somewhat. All right? They can't allow him to go 65 yards by catching the edge and having daylight down the sidelines. They can't allow him to get behind the defense on a pass play for 70 yards. They can't allow that to happen. In the meantime, offensively, the Tigers need to continue to run the ball, which they did against Navy effectively with Blake Watson. And it's going to be a lot tougher against a team that is full of athletes and full of physical players. But if you can get Watson to the edge, you can get him to the outside, he can use that speed. He's not a big guy, but he's a strong guy, and he has some breakaway speed. Will Hennigan get the protection he needs? Seth has to be better, first of all. He's thrown 3 interceptions already. He's been a little bit lackadaisical with the ball. He's a leader out there. He has to be really, really special for the Tigers to have a chance to win this game. And a lot of that will depend on how he's protected. And that's where I think the battle is. A lot of times the battle is either the turnovers or the quarterbacks or the line in the trenches. And I think that's where it is. Will we see more of what we saw in the second half against Navy from the Memphis defensive line, even the offensive line, as opposed to what we saw in that first half where they were just getting manhandled by Navy? This is a bigger, stronger team in Missouri. They're going to have to be as physical as Mizzou to have a chance and play really sound football. And again, can't emphasize it enough. This next 3 weeks, there's a bye week in between, but the next 3 games is going to really set the tone for what the season will be for Memphis. Will it be a special season, or will it be another 500 season? They have this game against Missouri. You turn around, you got Boise a week from tomorrow at home. And then after a bye week, you got Tulane. And Tulane right now are the kings of this conference coming off the season they had last year. And I've seen them twice already. And even though they lost to Ole Miss, I think this is an extremely capable team, especially if Michael Pratt's in there at quarterback. So that's kind of my thoughts on Memphis, Mizzou. Zach, you want to give us your thoughts, what you expect tomorrow to see from this game?
Yeah, hopefully it's a much closer game. I know I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter because I'm just I guess I'm just looking at the picture that's been floating around of the field that that was painted. So a lot of Tiger fans are not too happy about it. Because like myself, I thought, okay, this is a neutral site game, so they're probably going to split the end zone logos with both of the schools school logos, but that's not the case. So. We'll see. It's going to be some interesting motivational tactics, I think, going into it. But I think the Tigers, they have the talent to get this done. it's just a matter of are they going to shoot themselves in the foot so many times with that?
Yeah. This is absolutely a roadie. This is when you go in there, you're going to see a lot of Missouri fans if you're going to the game, and you're going to see, like we talked about, the logos, Missouri logos, Mizzou painted in the end zones. It's you're not going to see anything with the Memphis Tigers. You may see some Tiger stuff, but that's for the Missouri Tigers and not for the Memphis Tigers. And hopefully the Memphis Tigers can do what they need to do to pull off this win, because this would be the biggest win under Ryan Silverfield. And certainly, like I said, the next 3 weeks, the next 3 games, setting the tone for the rest of the season.
We do have a text, though.
Yes, what do you got?
So somebody texted in on our text line. They said they have major concerts at the Dome and occasionally the occasional convention overflow next door with the convention center.
Oh, okay. So they have the big concerts there. I didn't know if there was any other concert venue that they would have. They have the arena where the St. Louis Blues play, and I'm sure they have some concerts there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever have a concert at Busch. Probably not. So there's other venues, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense that they could have the big boy concerts at the Dome. You know, acts that could put 40,000 people in there.
Right. In November, they'll be having Metallica coming in at the first week of November.
There you go. But my point still stands. There are a lot less events than there used to be because there's no NFL team, and anything that corresponds or correlates to the National Football League is now gone. It's a dirty word now if you say that in St. Louis. And I think St. Louis, look, they had the Cardinals at one point. They had the Rams at one point. It's a shame that they don't. I think it's a good city that supports football, but maybe doesn't support having to pay for stadiums and things of that nature. I don't know all the politics that went in and why they lost. Of course, Bidwell taking the team to St. Louis, taking it to Arizona initially when they lost the Cardinals. And then you had Kroenke with Los Angeles promised them that new stadium. And so there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of politics. It's just a shame that a good blue collar city like St. Louis loses a football team a couple of times. And right now, all they have for their efforts is a team in the USFL, or make that the XFL, which, by the way, they do support. Folks, I hope you support one of all our sponsors, but one of our terrific sponsors, the Crazy Coop. You should support them because you know what you need for football watching, for football viewing this week. You need chicken wings. There's nothing better. It's synonymous. Football and chicken wings and football, it goes together. If you haven't tried out the Crazy Coop, man, you are missing out. 27 incredible flavors they have, and always looking to add more. They are right there. They have scientists. They're in the lab looking at what combinations they could come up with. But right now with 27, that's a lot to choose from. That's a lot of variety. Where is the Crazy Coop located? 7199 Highway 64 between Appling and Kirby Whitten. Also, the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. They can cater an event you got coming up. You can go over there, get a crazy pack of chicken wings, basically a tray of chicken wings for any event. You're hosting a little get-together for college football or for the NFL. They can do that with those whole wings, party wings, and the boneless wings as well, the chicken tenders, big, juicy chicken tenders. You go out to that Bartlett location. They also have the full menu with catfish sandwiches, half-pound burgers. They are juicy burgers, plus all those great sides like fried okra, green tomatoes, and dill pickles. But it's the sauces that make the chicken wings, and they have everything from buffalo ranch, a perfect combo of ranch seasoning with a little kick to it, to, if you want to go hot, the sweet, crazy sweet lemon pepper hot, or the crazy suicide. It's all for you at the Crazy Coop. Again, 2 convenient locations. The Express is open at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar, and the Original, that is located in Bartlett at 7199 Highway 64. It's right between Appling and Kirby Whitten. When we come back, a little more on the college football weekend, some final thoughts before we hand things over to Dave Woloshin. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time to go where the season takes you, and it's the season for savings at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Go for miles more with 43 MPG Highway in your 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. $17,815 or $229 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross eludes sleek and sporty style at $29,695 or $399 a month. Discover the new 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SUV with third row and 7-passenger seating. Now $29,885 or $449 a month. And they're all equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. We're ready to put you in a new ride today at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months, Mirage RH 00782, MSRP 18315, Eclipse RZ 001693, MSRP 30,445, Outlander RZ 005762, MSRP 31,385. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and licensee. Dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Purple Wave Auction understands that it takes the right equipment to maximize profits in the field. That equipment is up for auction every week at purplewave.com. Bid on hundreds of items from John Deere, Kubota, Case IH, and more. Our marketplace transparency makes bidding on those tractors, balers, and sprayers safe and easy. Equipment sells to the highest bidder regardless of price. Get started now at purplewave.com. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
A cold shower is no way to start your day. Purchase a new water heater from the pros at Conway Services, and you may be eligible for up to $2,000 in federal tax credits. Call 384-3511 to schedule your appointment. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19688.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
It didn't take them long. Genesis Diamonds is now the undisputed value leader here in Memphis. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and people who have gone into Genesis Diamonds with a budget have often left spending less than they thought they would, and they end up with a better diamond, a bigger diamond, and a nicer ring. I'm telling you, Genesis has disrupted the old school jewelry store scene right here in Memphis. It starts with value. Genesis is a direct diamond importer where they get their diamonds from the world's best diamond cutters with no middleman. I call it extreme value. Genesis is also the authorized retailer for all the top bridal designers, so they have the rings on every woman's wish list. They back up every purchase with a 100% free lifetime warranty. That means no charge ever for things like sizing or cleaning. All this in a fun, relaxed environment with no commission salespeople, no pressure of any kind, and no retail pricing games. We've needed a place like this for years here in Memphis, and now Genesis is here. It's quite a change from other jewelry stores with traditional prices, limited selection, and insane markups. Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended in Poplar Commons.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678605, MSRP 21610, Nero P5078859, MSRP 41090, EV6 P5610964, MSRP 49687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit. Dealer stock only. Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah is about to blow my socks off.
That's right, Brandy. Get 41 MPG Highway with the 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $229 a month, $29.99 do-it signing.
What about those cool new EVs?
I've got EV action with the 2023 Nero EV Win SUV, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 do-it signing. And the 2023 Kia EV6 Win, 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 do-it signing. Plus, you'll get a free charger with every EV purchase, all 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Get them to sign on the line which is dotted.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Gonna put the world away for a minute. Pretend I don't live in.
Welcome back, everybody. 9:50 the time. Final segment here on Sports 56 Mornings. Dave Woloshin waiting in the on-deck circle for Wolo and Friends. That'll come your way at 10 o'clock right here on Sports 56. I was reading this story during the break, Major League Baseball, and this is just par for the course. So Miguel Cabrera of the Detroit Tigers is retiring at the end of the year. He will be a future member of Cooperstown, as he will be elected into the Hall of Fame. One of the great hitters of modern baseball, just a really good player. Anyway, Miggy's gone on the retirement tour around Major League stadiums, and teams have given him gifts, as they do with big-time players retiring, knowing that they're going to retire at the end of that year. The Los Angeles Dodgers, for example, gave him a star, like on the Walk of Fame, a star. The Cleveland Guardians gave him a guitar for the embolic of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His last stop was in Oakland. You know what's coming here, folks, right? The Oakland A's, they're leaving on a jet plane. They're going to be heading to Vegas. It has been a notoriously cheap organization. And you can go back to Charles O'Finley, how cheap they've been. But really, this ownership group, horrible. And they lost the team. So he's honored before the game, and all these great gifts that he's received. They give Miggy a bottle of wine. It was signed by all the players, including Brent Rooker from ECS, a $90 bottle of wine. Now, I'm not a wine connoisseur, but to me, does that not sound cheap, Zach? Well, if somebody gave, I don't drink wine either, but my wife does. If somebody gave my wife a $90 bottle of wine, that's nice. That's a nice gift. That's nice. But this is this is a Major League Baseball organization saying goodbye. And this is something that every team did. Again, really special gifts up and down the board. And they give him, here's a bottle of wine with all our autographs on it. By the way, it's worth $90. But you know what? You're right about everybody having the different price. Right? Well, it's the same with ownership groups, right? There are owners who notoriously spend, and there are ownership groups that are as cheap as they can possibly be. Of course, this ownership is not losing the team; they're just leaving the city because the city didn't step up. But the ownership group is notoriously cheap. That's why the A's are terrible. Okay, that's why they're bad, and they'll be bad in Las Vegas. Yeah. Wanted to get to one other topic before we wrap it up. And again, the big college football weekend includes the Colorado-Oregon game. I don't expect Colorado to win. You heard Brandon Lang say he didn't expect them to win, but he would take Colorado in 21, and I did as well, even with Hunter out. It's been a great story, but I know that Coach Prime is a polarizing figure. People love him or people hate him, and they want to fail. They'll come out of the woodwork if they lose. And again, I think they'll lose the game, but especially if they get beat up pretty good. Oh, I told you. Well, nobody expected Colorado to go in there and win a Big 12 champion or Pac-12 championship. Of course, they're going to the Big 12, a Pac-12 championship. So I don't know why people hate like they do, but they do. But this was interesting. This came from Paul Feinbaum yesterday on his show. He said, I think the narrative that Coach Prime is doing this paint by numbers is completely false. This is a Hall of Fame athlete that did everything on the football field and coached in high school as well before going to Jackson State. I believe he's as smart at the X's and O's as Nick Saban. He simply doesn't have the experience as a head coach. Now, I think it's something that falls in between. I know Dion during the games not doing much. He leaves it to his offensive and defensive coordinators. He's a great motivator, but a guy who has that experience knows the game. So he may not be the most prominent game planner and game day guy, but he can coach football. But to compare him to Nick Saban, and I know Saban's used his coordinators as well, but I think that's ludicrous. Now, can he be a great game day coach? Yes.
I think he's a really good coach. So for those who say he can't coach, I think it's ridiculous. For those like Feinbaum who says he's Nick Saban, as good as Nick Saban, I think that's ridiculous as well. Zach, you got a couple of texts. You want to get them in real quick before we wrap it up?
So I got a text from Wayne. He says that he is making the trip to St. Louis, but he has concerns about the Tigers, Memphis' speed on in their secondary.
Well, there's a concern in a lot of areas. Wayne's absolutely right, but what I do like is they have size. The speed, he's right, but they have size. Brumfield, DJ Bell, these are bigger defensive backs, and I like them along with Simeon Blair, your leader back there in the secondary.
And then
safe travels, Wayne, by the way. Safe travels.
That if the Tigers gets down by 2 touchdowns in the first half, it will be near impossible to win. Seth and the O-line will need an excellent game.
No question. You can't fall behind double digits and expect like fireworks to just be able to rattle off points to come back. It's going to be very tough because this is a physical team that they are playing against. You can't fall behind. You especially can't give them extra possessions by turning the ball over. That's why I was asked yesterday by Brett and Bryant about what type of game you think would be more beneficial for Memphis, a lower scoring game or a higher scoring game. I said a higher scoring game as long as they're able to showcase their ability to score. If they can do score for score, I like those chances. But again, as that texter said, if they're struggling to score and Missouri jumps out 2 touchdowns, it's going to be really tough to come back from that. We will talk about that game. We will talk about a great weekend of college football, or what at least should be. The NFL will do this on Monday. Again, we'll be broadcasting live. Eli will rejoin me. We'll be at Fair Oaks Golf Course out in Oakland, Tennessee. Stop on by if you're out in that area. That'll be Monday, starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Want to thank John Varlas, Coach Ryan Silverfield, David Johnson, Brandon Lang for joining us on the program today. Want to thank you folks for all your calls, your texts, your tweets. We always appreciate it. Big thanks to everybody involved in the program. Of course, our producer extraordinaire, Zach Boyd. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. He's in St. Louis with me. He's coming up in just a few moments. For Eli Savoy, for Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great weekend, everybody.